Welcome to the Saturday College Football Kickoff Show right here on Pub Sports Radio. Good to be with you as always on a Saturday and ready to break down another big Saturday of college football action. Ian Cameron, Conor Mac, Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss. We're here ready to break down the card. Let's get to it. We'll start as always with the noon Eastern start times, the noon Eastern games. We start with UMass and Army. Obviously, a mismatch is what we expect here. Army 36-point home favorites, 56 and a half being the total in this game. Certainly from an Army perspective, we know what they're going to do on offense, triple option. It should be able to have a great deal of success here against UMass, and that's putting it mildly. The UMass defense giving up 225 rushing yards and a robust 5.8 yards per carry. So that's not good when you're playing Army. This is one of those games where you got to love it if you're a team like Army that runs triple option. You can just probably hand the ball off, get 15, 20-yard gains, a lot of the time. And that's probably what I expect here in this one. So maybe Army first half. I actually might bet that. It's just a lean. It's minus 23 and a half. It's not like it's a bargain, but this could be a game where it's just one big play in the run game after another, because UMass is one of the worst run defenses in the country. And just matchup-wise and stylistically, this is as bad a matchup as you could ask for here for UMass today. So the question is can UMass trade points? And that's going to be the question. I'm not sure they can, because Army, defensively has been good at times, especially the last couple weeks. And we've seen this UMass offense score 22 points or less in 3 straight games. So it's probably a spot where you'd expect Army to eventually pull away. But if I were to bet it, I'd look first half. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, I don't want anything to do with this game. I see Army and laying 36 points. I don't want anything to do with it. I think they do run all over UMass. I don't know if UMass can score. That Army defense isn't, very stout. Maybe they could get a couple scores, but this is one that was a quick cross-off for me.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I like back in the academy teams, but not with 36. That's a big number. And their lone blemish is at home, they're dynamite, at Mikey Stadium. But Wake Forest, remember that game, all the points they scored there back and forth. But I think it's a pass for me.
All right, DJ Big Boss, what do you like here?
Definitely a pass for me, but if I had to take a play on this one, I would go under in this one, because Army's defense, the running game, UMass offense is horrible as well. So horrible offense, great defense usually keeps the total under. So I would lean under in this one.
All right, we move on to Kent State and Akron, a little Maction here on a Saturday. Leaving one of the games from the weekday slate. They actually do play a couple of MAC games here today, including this one. Kent State, 13.5-point road favorite, 72 the total in this game. We know this Kent State offense, Dustin Crum, him leading it at the quarterback spot is absolutely explosive, dynamic. They can strike quickly from anywhere on the field, and we've definitely seen evidence of that. They are coming off a big loss, though, to Central Michigan, 54-30 in their last game. Definitely a step backward for Kent State, as they are trying to make sure that they win the East Division here in the MAC. They still are in a decent shape here, 4-2 in conference, but now they've fallen a half game behind Miami, Ohio here in the conference. So this ends up being a game you got to get it. Although Akron, the last few weeks, been more competitive, much more competitive. 6-point loss to Ball State, 5-point loss at Western Michigan. Now their defense is still bad, but their offense, and Connor and I have talked about this on the Monday show, hitting the books the last couple of weeks. Since Zach Gibson came in at the quarterback spot, Akron's definitely picked it up. The Zips have had some zip, if you will, offensively the last couple of weeks, and they've been starting to move the ball, put up some points. I don't know. It's a lot of points to be laying against suddenly an Akron team that's covered 2 in a row, single-digit losses in both games. So lean into the home dog here, Akron in this one. And I know it's a 72 total, but hard to think under in this game with Kent State's offense. Kent State's defense is still a little shaky. And look, Akron's offense is a lot better, and Akron's defense is bad. So I could only go over, but I'm leaning a little to Akron here. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, me too. There's just no way. I think Kent State wins this football game. It's just, do you want to lay the points here on the road? And I don't. With a bad defense like that, I don't want to lay 2 touchdowns. I needed more 2 touchdowns with Akron to feel safe. They've been playing a lot better. We talked about since the quarterback switch. This one was a tough one for me. It's a lean with the points with Akron in this game. And yeah, I guess with these two defenses, it makes 72 look, short. So I guess I'd lean over.
Big Ragoo.
Well, you guys thinking it's short, huh? I was thinking the opposite because I was kind of nervous about Akron's ability to put points up. I think the Golden
I
Flash
think
are
they'll be
going to
able
get
to score.
theirs. You think? Okay,
Yeah.
so that explains everything to me there, because I was going to say, if you kind of lean, if you like the over, you got to like Akron to get involved here. And then if the way you guys are talking, hey, I was thinking maybe leaning under, but I would lean towards the over then. If you guys saying Akron's putting points up, then I take the over.
65 in the last two games they've scored, so an average of more than 30 points per game the last two.
Yeah.
And actually on the road, they scored 21 against Miami O, 40 against Western Michigan, 35 against Bowling Green on the road in MAC play. So they've done well on the road. They're at home here in this one. They actually, believe it or not, haven't been quite as good offensively at home. But the last 2 weeks, like I said, 65, including 40 against Western last week. And the quarterback change has sparked it for sure. What do you like here, boss?
First, I like to say great hat, Big Ragoo. I like that hat. But
I got my 4-leaf clover on today. I'm gonna need a horseshoe up my ass too to make it happen.
but you'll hear me pass a lot today on a lot of games, because we're coming to that point of the season where some teams have hope and some teams don't. This is a must win for Kent State in this position, since Miami, Ohio already got the win. So all they could do is follow through with a win. So how kids interpret that, we don't know. So you want to lay 13 points, and good enough is good enough. They just need a win. They don't need 13 points. So it's difficult. And then you don't know about the Akron side as well. They're 1-5. I'm sure many of those kids are going to jump into the transfer portal. Their minds are not in the game at some point, But then you have some teams at that point that come together and say, let's take this big team out. Let's do something, let's blow some smoke. So I'm going to pass on it, totally, or, if anything, I would look at a total, and then looking at totals, that's difficult as well, because you would think going to these type of games, teams would definitely play defense, but then teams that are strong on offense, they'll shoot it out to the end, and then you got overtime. So it's just going to be a lot of hard passes for me, and that's a hard pass.
All right, we got a good one in the Big Ten. This is your ABC noon Eastern game. Michigan State, Ohio State. We've got Ohio State 19-point home favorites at the shoe, 69.5 the total in this one. I'm on the over here in this game. I like it a lot, in fact, and I understand why the number's going up here. Michigan State's secondary is the part of their defense you're concerned about here, because you're going up against an Ohio State team. The passing game is locked and loaded right now. C.J. Stroud coming off an outstanding performance last week. We know it's one of the best receiving corps in the country. Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I mean, it is a loaded receiving core here for Ohio State, and Michigan State can't stop the pass very well. They should be able to move the ball, but I'm still on the fence with this Ohio State defense. Now, some people might disagree, but let's be honest. They have played an Indiana team with no offense, a Maryland offense that hasn't been the same since they lost their best receiver, Rutgers, Akron, Penn State, they gave up 24. Purdue last week, they gave up 31. It's not even close. This is one of the better offenses they've played in a while, with Peyton Thorne at quarterback and with Kenneth Walker running the football. I think they're going to I think Michigan State can put up some points here in this game, and I think they're going to be able to do that here. You look at this Ohio State defense. It's been good against the run. It's not been so good against the pass, but Peyton Thorne's really played better in terms of throwing the football lately, and I think he can do enough. I kind of want to take Michigan State because they got the big Michigan game next week. You look at Michigan State being plus 19 here, guys. Purdue was plus 19 last week against Ohio State, and I think Michigan State's better team than Purdue. So I think they have basically boosted the power rating for Ohio State after last week's thumping of Purdue, because they're laying the same points here to Michigan State as they were to Purdue last week at home. So I think there is some value on the Spartans. Smaller bet for me with the Spartans side, but I really like this game to be a shootout here and go over the total. What do you like here, C-Mac?
Yeah, I'm not going to bet this one, but I'm with you. I don't know how Ohio State doesn't score in the 40s, and Michigan State should score as well. Ohio State's defense, I don't think it's very good either. Like I said, if Purdue put up 31, I thought they'd cover that game. but they didn't. So I lean the points with Michigan State. I just don't love it. It's a game I'm just passing. Just going to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. And you see Michigan State allowing 33 to Michigan, 40 to Purdue. So that tells you it could be some trouble for them defensively today against Ohio State. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, like Denny Green says, Ohio State, we thought we knew who they were, who they thought they were, right? When he said that in the Arizona game, this is who we get with Ohio State. You're going to get a team that's going to score a bunch of points, and the team's going to give up some points at the same time. But I think the value, if you're looking at the number, the total speaking, I'm looking at an over for Michigan State, 24 points. So I know Ohio State's going to hit the 40s, but I think Michigan State easily gets into the 20s here. So I think they get 4 touchdowns in this game. Maybe not one per quarter. Maybe they have like a quarter where they get 2 touchdowns, a field goal, and a touchdown and a field goal. So I think Michigan easily gets to the high 20s, maybe low 30s here. So I'm going to take Michigan State over 24 points.
Yeah, it's 23.5, 24 in most books, that team total on the Spartans. And look, Purdue got 31 against Ohio State last week. So I think your chances are good. You can get 24, 28 points out of Michigan State because this is a balanced offense. It's a good offense, and it's going to pose some threats here to, again, Ohio State defense that I don't think it's elite. We'll find out. Maybe they proved me wrong today, but I got to see it first. What do you think here, DJ Big Boss?
So this one is one that you want to get involved with on this type of Saturday because, this one is really playing for something. That they're playing for the spot right here. So this is a real serious game today. This is a Super Bowl at that side of the conference. But in this spot right here, man, Michigan State has been the most shocking for the year. I'm just going to look at both teams overall. Michigan State's been the most shocking for the year. Their offense is on another level than before. But I guess we could say their defense is not as good because they've let up a lot of points. So definitely we leaning towards the over in this game. But a spot that I find interesting is that Ohio State either usually starts off fast or starts off slow, so they either down the first half and winning in the second half, or they just up first half and just keep going. So I'm going to take it that since they're playing, Michigan State has been playing more of the quality opponents opposed to Ohio State. I think they've been sliding by a little bit because now we see Penn State is not as good as we thought they was. Then I think that Michigan State gets them first half. So I'm going Michigan State first half.
All right, next up, we've got Texas, West Virginia. West Virginia, 2.5-point home favorites, 56.5 the total in this game. You talk about, and everybody does when you handicap any sport, especially the college sports, the letdown spot. And sometimes I think the letdown can be off a big win sometimes. I find the letdown often can be off a bad loss or a crushing loss or a heartbreaking loss, even more than off the win. And that's what you get here with Texas. I mean, they've got to be just completely demoralized. You lose at home to Kansas last week, 57-56. And you know what's worst about that loss is, they actually moved the ball up and down the field. It was their own mistakes. It was penalties, and it was a slew of turnovers that did Texas in last week against Kansas. Basically self-inflicted wounds, mental mistakes, and that's simply not going to cut it. And all of a sudden, we were really impressed with Sark in September. There were some nice results this team got, and it's been a downward slide since then, since early October. 0-5 straight up, 0-5 against the spread the last 5 games. Now, granted, it's been a gauntlet. Oklahoma State, Baylor, Iowa State, really tough games. You can excuse them for losing those games. You cannot excuse them for losing to Kansas last week as 31-point home favorites. You just can't. I do not trust Texas to bounce back. You do have West Virginia here at home, where they played some good football this year, and they're always usually pretty tough at home for the most part. They are coming off back-to-back losses, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, so they're not in great form either, but Oklahoma State's got the best defense in the conference by far, so I wouldn't penalize them too much for that. I just got to think here, both teams at 4 wins, but who would be more excited to get to 6-6 in a minor bowl game? You got to believe West Virginia based on the expectations for Texas coming into the year, so I don't trust Texas. Don't want to say I'm not rushing to bet West Virginia, but I still like them, and I took them here, laying less than a field goal at home. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, Texas is in shambles, man. That's a horrible loss to Kansas. You talked about it. They have Kansas, West Virginia after this, and I think they want to get to a bowl game. Even those last 2 losses were real bad to Oklahoma State and K-State. I think they get up. They're in Morgantown. It's less than a field goal. It could only be on West Virginia here. needing to get to a bowl game, I think they can pull it out here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
It's going to be tough sledding for Texas. I don't know if anybody heard that Sarkisian ass ripping he gave the team, but that was something beyond belief, man. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
After that, I would probably took the bus out of town and went back wherever the hell I came from. But it was rough. I mean, they're you know what it is? They played a little softer schedule earlier to get into the meat of the division against the tougher opponents, and now, you know, the first-year coach, you know, those tendencies are coming out, you know, with the players and whatnot. So some teams, they progress pretty quick. We thought they were, but it's not looking too good for Texas here. So it's definitely a West Virginia spot or pass. I'm not rushing to bet it, but I do show some value with West Virginia with the number here also.
You know what? If you don't love the -2.5, I think West Virginia team total is 29.5. You could look at that because giving up 30s has been the norm for Texas. 55, 32, 31, 30, 57 to Kansas last week. So that might be a look, too, the team total for West Virginia. And Jarrett Daigie's had some good games. Now, he's had some rough games, too, but he's had some good games. I mean, we saw West Virginia put up 38 at home against Iowa State just a few games ago. So they're capable of doing that against this Texas defense. That is for damn sure. Boss?
Yeah, I agree with the Big Ragoo. It kind of all comes down to coaching right here. You know, both teams not really going far after this. You know, maybe bowl hopeful a little bit, but I think in this one, I don't know. I'm gonna go on the side of Sarkisian, even though, you know, the nasty words he said and all that. To me, that shows a little bit of passion. You know what I mean? He has took this team some places. So if he's losing grip, he's trying to get the ones that's, you know, he's trying to cut the fat. So whoever's against him going to be against him. They may come out and play, you know, the ones that come up and show the play today, they want to be there. They want to go forward. So it's a coaching thing. You know, I would lean with Sark in this one. You know, he's been real passionate about this Texas thing he's been doing. And he showed good spots of doing you know, a good job. On the other hand, with Neil Brown, you know, Neil Brown's been consistent. You know, that's all we really can say. He's just been consistent, but he's a quality coach as well. So you can't look past that either. So I don't know. I lean Texas.
All right, we got Florida State and Boston College next up, a noon Eastern kickoff in Chestnut Hill. BC minus 2-point home favorites, 55.5 the total in this game. Florida State, big time rivalry win for them to snap a 2-game losing streak last week against Miami. That was a good call from a Big Ragoo, like in Florida State there. 31-28 win against Miami. Get to 4-6 on the year. Now the question is, how badly do they want to go bowling? It's going to be a minor bowl. You know, you could debate entirely whether it's something Florida State's truly excited for, considering, you know, where the program's been in years past compared to now. But nevertheless, it's still there for the taking. The bottom line is, though, I don't know if I trust FSU in this spot. They got to go, you know, to the Northeast. It's going to be a little bit colder, a little bit nippy there in Boston today. You never know how the Florida kid's going to react to that. And just more than this maybe being a letdown spot after the big win, this is just a bet on for me with Boston College right now. And I said this the moment they got Phil Dracovic back at quarterback. It's a different football team. And look what they've done. 2 wins, 2 covers since he's come back against Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech. The offense is rolling. Jeff Hafley saying, I'm just thrilled the guy is back. Yeah, no shit. Because the quarterback before that, Grossell, was just not very good for Boston College. You get Dracovic back, and now the offense looks like it's in gear again. I got to lean to Boston College here to get the win. I do like the Eagles here in this game. I actually like the over as well, 55.5. You are seeing the BC offense return again. Florida State, you know, they can still put up points, Florida State. We saw that last week against Miami. BC's defense has actually regressed a little bit, and I think Jordan Travis can go in there, make some things happen, maybe run the football a little bit with Deshaun Corbin, and be able to, you know, trade points at least for a little bit in this game. I think BC gets the win, but I think Florida State can contribute as well. Some points in this game, and I think it'll go over 55.5 as well. What do you think here, Connor? FSU, BC?
Yeah, I'm staying off the total here. I like how BC's defense has played lately, and Dracovic is back, like you talked about. They're here at home. This one was a difficult one because I've taken Florida State a lot lately. You know, even though they're not winning, they've been covering. I, of course, had them last week. So this one's a tough one for me, but I lean Boston College, laying the short number. And like I said, nothing on the total. I don't know if I can get up and over that number there.
All right, Big Ragoo.
My son always tells me he disowns me if I ever diss Florida State on the show. So here we go. All right, but yeah, huge win last week, no question about it. That was a 5-year drought. I was at the last time they won that game when my son was going to school up there. But anyways, it feels good. Now we back down to earth this week. We got to travel to up to Boston and play a pretty good football team up there. That, like you said, with Yurkovich coming back, it's a different animal altogether. I think it's a good spot play for Boston College here. I'm not going to be a homer. I'm not always sometimes I am, but in this spot, nah. Give me BC on the short number.
BC sounds like they're ready for this game too, because he says our guys are feeling good. We had a lot of energy. It was loud at our practices, so definitely good spirits for Boston College. And they're thinking 8 or 9 wins, or 8 wins, I should say. They want to get to that 8-4 mark, and they could do that if they win out. What do you like here, boss?
Hey, after taking Miami last week and taking it in the teeth, I'm going to stay out of Florida business. I'm going to leave that up to Big Ragoo, and I'm going to leave Boston College with him.
All right, nothing wrong with that. Lots of games. It's okay to pass. There's no question, especially when you know teams you've had. You just been off.
That's not my business. That's not my business. That's not my business. I just stay in my lane.
All right, good stuff. Rutgers and Purdue and Northwestern first. Purdue 11-point favorites here, 47.5 being the total here in this game. Make sure you make note of the fact that this is a neutral field game at Wrigley Field. This one between Purdue and Northwestern. So make sure you keep that in mind. I'm not going to lay 11 on the road here with Purdue, but Northwestern's just been a big disappointment this year. It's been tough sledding for them. They actually competed well against Iowa, and then they fell right back down last week against Wisconsin. Just nothing from them offensively, losing 35-7. You've got Purdue off the loss to Ohio State, 59-31. They've actually been very good off a loss, Purdue. They lost to Notre Dame. They beat Illinois. They lost to Minnesota, won and covered against Iowa, lost to Wisconsin, won and covered against Nebraska. So they've been good off a loss. I could only back Purdue, but I don't know if I want to lay 11. I do think the under is worth a look, though. Feels like a very low-scoring game here. Northwestern's offense, just don't trust them to work because we saw them shut down completely last week. What do you think here, C-Mac?
Yeah, the Purdue defense. Maybe they didn't need Northwestern to look a little better today after just couldn't stop anything with Ohio State. They could have scored 80 in that game last week. So that's why I'm not going to touch the total either. I can't lay double digits with Purdue here. So this was a pass for me. I wish Northwestern, they played a little bit better, but it's pretty bad when you're only scoring 7 points a game. So I can't take the 11 with them either. This is a dead pass.
Big Ragoo.
Yeah, Northwestern can't wait to get this season over with. They look forward to playing Illinois probably in that final game, then regroup for next year. But, hey, they're going to try to make something positive happen. I don't think it's in this spot, though. Maybe Illinois is the spot for them going out in the last week of the season. But Purdue, their defense is a lot better than, we gave them credit for early on. And I think I would have to lean Purdue. There's no way I can back Northwestern in this spot. But the number – you might. What's the current number on that now? You said 11?
11. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that's a pass.
Yeah, it's just a few too many. Boss?
Hey, I wouldn't get to the window with it, but I would take Purdue. I wouldn't mind laying the points. All the big schools been getting their piece on Northwestern this year. They just not the team they used to be in the past that used to kind of like upset some of those big games. Only Iowa they was able to, put up a fight, but everybody else, ran by and covered. So I don't see why Purdue shouldn't be able to run by and cover. They've been doing a good job this season. They're having one of the best seasons in a while. So I wouldn't mind laying it, but I don't think I'm gonna get to the window with it.
You want to know how bad Northwestern's offense is? Hunter Johnson, highly recruited at Auburn. Ryan Helinski, highly recruited, at many other places in his career. And neither of those guys have, and then they had to go to Andrew Marty at quarterback last week against Wisconsin, and he wasn't very good. Now, he's the guy that they might look toward for the future. So Pat Fitzgerald says he might play all 3 quarterbacks. And when you have 3 quarterbacks playing in the same game, you usually have none that you can count on. So that's probably where we're at right now with Northwestern's offense at this point in time. All right, next up on the slate here, we've got Rutgers and Penn State will stay in the Big Ten. Penn State 18-point home favorites, 46.5 the total in this one. I don't trust Penn State to be focused here for 4 quarters. I mean, it's another loss, painful loss last week to Michigan. Now you got to play this feisty, scrappy Rutgers team. Are they a great Rutgers team? No. But one thing you get out of them under Schiano every week is effort. Defense hangs in there. They can force turnovers. We've seen Noah Vidral on offense, spotty at quarterback. There's no question. But coming off one of their best offensive games of the year last week against Indiana, just thumped the Hoosiers in that game. Most of it on the ground. Isaiah Pacheco running the football was good. The defense was just swarming Indiana. They gave up 100 or just 85 rushing yards for that entire game, Rutgers against Indiana. So the run defense continues to play actually very well lately for Rutgers, and the defense overall has played great. And Penn State's had trouble running the ball as well in recent games. And Penn State, again, in these spots, when they're off a loss, their long-term track record off a loss under this head coach, James Franklin, it's not good. When they have a loss, they don't have an easy time of it bouncing back. And we've seen some seasons go off the rails for Penn State when all the dreams have been shot, basically. And that's where we're at with this team now at 6-4. There's nothing they can accomplish in a positive. They thought they could compete for the playoff. No. They thought they could compete for a Big Ten title. Nope, that's not happening now. This team is just going to end up being in a mediocre bowl game, when it's all said and done. So I don't know if there's incentive there to be laying this kind of number with Penn State. And all Rutgers does is battle. They've covered numbers in the underdog role. We saw what they did at Illinois. And off the bye, they've been a bit of a different team. I mean, they had the bad loss to Wisconsin, but Wisconsin's crushing everybody right now. I think Rutgers hangs here. It's a lot of points. Give me the Scarlet Knights plus 18. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, to me, this is the dead under for me. Rutgers looked better, but Indiana's horrible last week. They've had 4 of their last 5 under. Penn State 4 straight under. Big Ten football smash mouth. We got a 47. And I think it's too many points as well. Rutgers' best has been on the road as dogs. At home, they've got their ass kicked by Ohio State, Michigan State. Both these teams with similar teams like Northwestern, Illinois, I see a 20-17 type game. So I like the points here and the under in this game.
Do you know what? This says Illinois versus Penn State written all over it, like it's sequel.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be like 20-18, something like that game was. Rutgers will be right in it and maybe even have a shot to win. I could see that being the case here against
even in 8 overtimes, though.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll have the 8 overtimes part, Connor, but that would
still stayed under.
That's friggin' nuts.
That would be eerie if we have another 8 overtime game here with Penn State and Rutgers today. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I think it's a one-way look for Rutgers. Like you said, the run defense is really solid. They play well away from home. They're like 4-1 to the number on the road. And Penn State, they're going to have to put the ball up to kind of get any kind of bigger plays downfield against this team. That's going to be the concern because Clifford's has been putting together some nice games throwing the ball down the field. That's the only shot that Penn State has. But still, there's going to be a lot of games. A lot of the plays are going to be between the hash. A lot of plays are going to be between the hash marks. And I think Rutgers keeps it a little bit closer than 18. I mean, you need 3 touchdowns basically to get the job done. And I think Rutgers will be up to the task.
Yeah, they've beaten Indiana and Illinois on the road, and in the other Big Ten road games, Northwestern and Michigan, one was a loss by 14, the other a loss by 7. So they have not lost by this kind of margin on the Big Ten road this year, Rutgers. What do you think here, boss?
This one right here, what is it? The under is 4-6 for Rutgers. Penn State is 2-8 to the under. Reads under all over it. 2 mediocre, kind of bad offenses versus 2 decent defenses. Under or nothing in this one. They're giving you 47, like Connor said. I mean, what else do we need to tell you for that one? All
right. Next up, we've got let's see here. It is Wake Forest and Clemson. We've got Clemson 4-point home favorites, 56.5, 57 the total in this one. I'm on Wake here. I know Clemson's played a little bit better lately, but I think this offense, you can make an argument this is the best offense, most explosive, dynamic offense Clemson's defense has faced this year. And Clemson's defense has been what's, kept them afloat this year. They still have a pretty good defense, but, what's the best offense they've played this year? Maybe Pitt. I mean, it's, other than that, even Georgia first week of the year, but not a lot of offenses that can do what Wake does. That can run it with Beal Smith. They can throw it with Hartman to Roberson and a bunch of great receivers that play at the pace and tempo Wake Forest does, one of the fastest paced offensive teams in the country. They're going to be a challenge here for Clemson. I lean to the Wake side a little bit, and I like the over. I cannot shy away from an over in the mid-50s with Wake. To me, that's too low. And look, with DJ Uiagalelei for Clemson, let's give the offense a little bit of credit. 30 against Florida State, 30 against Louisville, 44 against UConn, although they struggled early in that game. Signs of life from the offense, and Wake's defense can still give up plays and give up points. So I think we can get over the number and Clemson, I think, can do enough offensively to make sure this game goes over the total. It's a very low total for a Wake game. No question about that. Connor, what do you think here? Wake, Clemson.
Yeah, this is a pass for me. It's a tricky spot, It's like 80-85% of the money all over Wake. Yet this has moved up a half a point. It's come back down. There's a lot of fours now. Tricky. I don't know how Wake's defense is going to hold up. I want to take them. I think they can cover here. I'm just going to pass, though.
All right, good stuff. And, of course, huge game for Wake. They clinched the Atlantic Division of the ACC with a victory today. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, Clemson's going to need a lot of help if they beat Wake for them to get in the ACC championship game. But Wake, they've had this circled on their calendar for a while, and they've kind of geared their offense up towards this all year long. But like you did say, Clemson is starting to convert some third downs now, moving the chains a lot better, and Wake's defense. So to me, this has a field goal feel to it, like whoever has the ball last. Not that Clemson's going to be an offensive juggernaut, but they'll control the clock. And Wake, what they'll do, they'll go fast. So it's going to be a tug of war here. I would have to lean Wake, even though Clemson's probably going to sneak the victory out. I would say maybe Wake and a little sprinkle like we always do on the money line. Even though Clemson's going to win, I'm going to go contrarian and take Wake. I know it's going to be the public side, but I think Wake's going to probably sneak it out.
Yeah, definitely. That's what we want. I mean, sometimes we're concerned when we're on the public side, but we want to be on the right side, hopefully. And I think it is Wake as well. We'll see. And by the way, Justin Ross, who's by far the best receiver for Clemson, is going to miss this game with a foot injury. So no Justin Ross on the field here for Clemson today in this one. Boss, what do you think?
I'm gonna lean on the side of Wake. Like my bookie theory keeps going on this Clemson team. They keep finding ways each week to make you want to believe in Clemson, and here they go, setting it at a short line, making them the favorite. And Wake is a far better team in the ACC right now. Wake has been doing a really good job this year, and it would be Wake or nothing for me. I mean, how could you go this far in the season knowing that this Clemson team kind of stinks and you still give up a couple points and take them this late in the season versus a quality team? Just when Ian just listed off all the teams that Clemson just played recently, all those teams are not UMass. Come on. You know what I'm saying? This is Wake Forest. This is a top tier team in the ACC right now. They got to bring their best game. I don't think Clemson gets there.
All right, we've got Florida Atlantic, Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky, 10.5-point home favorites, 64 the total in this one. All of a sudden, Western Kentucky, we know how explosive this offense is with Bailey Zapp and this air raid pass offense. It's extremely explosive and dynamic, no question. But they're facing a Florida Atlantic team that defensively has been solid at times. Not so good lately, though. 58 allowed in the last two games. This passing game, again, for Western Kentucky has been terrific. And Florida Atlantic, they do give up 324 passing yards per game the last three through the air. So I worry about that a little bit here for Florida Atlantic's defense, which has been weaker against the pass. Not what you want here against a Western Kentucky team that's hit the 40s in 4 of their last 5 games. This probably is a good over spot potentially. The question is, can you get enough offense from Florida Atlantic, because they've kind of been held down the last 2 games. It's been a up and down season for N'Kosi Perry, only completing 59% of his passes. The good news is only 4 interceptions with 17 touchdowns, so he has protected the football. We'll lean over the total in this one for me. FAU, WKU, Connor.
Yeah, I think this gets over as well. I think FAU could score enough. Yeah, in this one. Yeah, you could look at Western Kentucky team total. I think they get 40 like they normally do, and I think FAU can put some points up here. I'm not going to mess with the side. I lean Western Kentucky. But I think you just lean over here, look over.
All right, big Ragoo.
Yeah, I think the over bodes well. I mean, if you look at Western Kentucky's defense, I mean, I think the last 5 games they haven't allowed more than 21 points, but they played Florida International, Charlotte, Rice, and then Middle probably the toughest opponent they played was Middle Tennessee,
who are down to their third string quarterback.
Right, that too. So we turn around and we say we like to fly over the total in this spot.
All right, boss.
I like the over the total, but I would be leaning a little harder towards Western Kentucky and probably laying the points. This game is important to Western Kentucky. A win right here. Next week they have Marshall. Marshall's one game behind them. A loss right here. They end up playing for their life against Marshall. A win right here. They're kind of comfortable in playing against Marshall in the next game. So it's a must win for them. So in games like this, you might want to chop it down, take it first half, because they may try to decide to take players off the field or whatever the second half. So the back door might be open. So I say first half Western Kentucky.
Yeah, there is a chance it could be a de facto East Division championship game in Conference USA next week. Marshall, Western Kentucky, depending on how this one plays out. Western Kentucky is in control of their own destiny. They just win today. And certainly win next week. They're in the CUSA championship game against the winner of, and we'll get to this game later, and this is a bad job by everybody. Everybody's at fault here. How is that UAB UTSA game, which is going to decide the West Division of Conference USA, how is that game not televised anywhere? It's on, or actually it is. It's on ESPN Plus, so you got to stream it. It's on there, but still, put that on ESPNU or ESPN, even ESPN News somewhere. That's a huge game right there.
Yeah, it'll be a good game, too.
It is a good game. No doubt about that. And we're certainly cheering for our Pub Sports Radio fam here based in San Antonio that the Roadrunners, the biggest game in their program history by far today, they get it done. We'll talk about that game in just a bit. All right, we move on now to next game on the noon Eastern slate. We've got South Florida and Tulane. Tulane 5.5 point home favorites, 59.5 being the total in this game. Line move coming in here on Tulane. It's been a very tough season for sure for them. Definitely defensively, they've had their share of issues. Of course, they had also an injury to Michael Pratt earlier this year. He came back last week against or in the last game against UCF, but kind of struggled. We'll see if he can bounce back here in this one. The money's come in on Tulane, which is interesting because, look, South Florida, they've started to cover some point spreads down the stretch, played a little bit more competitive football, covered 2 in a row against Houston and Cincinnati, whereas Tulane, they just keep on losing games. They've lost 8 straight, and they've only covered twice during that span. They're off a real heartbreaking loss in overtime to Tulsa last week, 20-13. We'll see if they can bounce back from that. It's just, I'm not laying 5.5 with Tulane. The more the number goes up, I could only back the Bulls here, South Florida. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Tulane might get the win here. There's just no way I'm going to lay 5.5 with him. South Florida has played a little bit better. I take the points with him. I see a field goal game in this one, maybe even money line with South Florida.
All right, good stuff. No college basketball show today, Zizzo, but you know what? I'll give you a couple college basketball plays at the end. I'm sure Conor will, if he has any already. We'll throw out a couple at the end of the show. Big Ragoo, what do you think here?
Yeah, I think trending wise, South Florida is the look here. Tougher games against bigger opponents, closer games. Then Tulane coming off that overtime loss last week, so it's got to be South Florida pass in this spot. Money line plus points.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, Zizou, you know obviously about Max and Conor's show. Make sure you tune in Net Profit Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you watch that. They're doing a great job with it. Boss, what do you think here?
South Florida 6-4 ATS. Giving them 5 points against a team with a worse record than them. I don't know how that makes sense, but I would have to take South Florida plus 5 big ones.
All right, good stuff. All right, next up, we continue along here. It is Iowa State and Oklahoma. We've got Oklahoma 3-point home favorites, 59 the total. A lot of money coming in on Iowa State. I think if you got Iowa State already, you're in a good position. I certainly don't trust Oklahoma losing to Baylor last week. How are they going to bounce back? We'll see. But to me, I'm looking at this as a game where I don't trust Oklahoma. It could only be Iowa State, but I wouldn't recommend them now at 3 when it was, 6.5, 6, 5, 5.5, 4, 4.5, 3.5 earlier in the week. This could be a sneaky over because, look, Iowa State's defense hasn't been as good this year. Can Caleb Williams bounce back? I was shocked how bad the Oklahoma offense was. Really the first time they've had a bad offensive game with Caleb Williams. They might be able to bounce back here. So I'll lean over the total with this one. Connor, Iowa State, Oklahoma.
Yeah, this is Iowa State for me. There's just no way I can take Oklahoma. Yeah, and Cliff, get it right. I had a winning record this week. I had a losing night last night. And Max had a rough week, but he will be back. So get the facts straight.
College basketball is tough across the board. I've spoken to 10 people. It's tougher. It's tougher than it's usually been early on. So it's a long season. That's the bottom line. Calm down. Chill out. Go ahead, Connor.
That's it. Iowa State.
Good stuff. It's a football show today anyway. Back to football. Remember that NFL used that slogan when they came back from the hiatus? Back to football. That's right. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
Yeah, Oklahoma, they start slow all the time. And I think Williams will bounce back here. I don't know if they get to the number, but my look would be Iowa State first half because the way Oklahoma usually comes out, and Iowa State going to be up to the task. So it's Iowa State plus the first half, and then maybe later on the game, if you get lucky, you get a little ballsy, look at Oklahoma for a live play.
Yeah, absolutely. Boss, what do you like here?
This is a must-win for Oklahoma, tied with Oklahoma State in their side of the division. So, but this Iowa State team passing defense is tremendous. So, whoever they put behind the ball today over there in Oklahoma, they're gonna have a tough time getting that ball out there. So, in the game like this is one of those weird. Big 12 is some weirdest contrarian conference they got, so you have to go for the most contrarian look right here. And I guess the most contrarian look to me would be the under in this one. Like, who knows? Oklahoma might come out knowing that they need the win and actually play some defense today. Iowa State's offense is not great. They're that's what they pack in defense for the game. So they got the defense out there, and the offense is okay. And I think if Oklahoma plays a little defense, maybe we get a tight game, and Oklahoma walks away with the win. But I'm gonna go contrarian and take the under.
All right, we got New Mexico State and Kentucky. Kentucky 36-point home favorites, 60.5 the total in this game. We'll see if New Mexico State can contribute here, but we kind of saw evidence. How could they fare against an SEC defense last week? Not very well, losing 59-3 to Alabama here in that game. Remember, we got the field goal.
We got the field goal, right?
We were feeling good. 3-0 New Mexico State. Zip from that point on. Damn it. Oh, well. That's sometimes what can happen when you play Alabama. So don't know if I'm ready to run back to bet back New Mexico State for a second straight week against Kentucky. And look, Kentucky, they need to run the football for their offense to be at their best. They've been doing that lately, and they actually a very balanced offense, run and pass. Well, New Mexico State can't stop the run, 5.6 yards per carry, 202 rushing yards per game allowed. Can't stop the pass either, 306 passing yards per game allowed. Kentucky should just be able to move the football at will here. It's a question of New Mexico State's score. I'm not so sure after what I saw last week, but it's a lot of points I'm passing. Conor Mac, what do you think?
This is a pass for me as well. I would need even more than this. It is a shitload of points. I want to take it, but yeah, there's other games. Pass.
Yeah, and don't forget that Kentucky did not cover against Vanderbilt last week, so laying big points with them is always a little bit of a shaky proposition. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, we did get excited with that field goal, right? I mean, going into that game, they were basically unblemished 5-0 ATS in those spots on the road in New Mexico. Even on 1-9, they've been a cashing machine, believe it or not, 0-6 on the road. But, hey, that is a lot of friggin' points, 36. And I don't know what kind of physical shape they're coming out of that game, because I'll tell you what, I watched Bama for most part of that game, and they were putting the pedal to the metal all game. I think that was a man-possessed. Saban was coaching that game against New Mexico State. So it's a sayonara pass.
Stuff. All right, we go Texas State and Coastal Carolina next up on the slate here. We've got Coastal Carolina, 24.5-point home favorites, 60 the total in this game. There should be a lot of points here, too. You would think this is not a good Texas State defense, and we know how good Coastal is offensively. That's the way it's been all year for them. Great balance. I love Jamie Chadwell. He's unfortunately probably going to be gone sooner rather than later because he's going to get a bigger job at a bigger program. But he's done a great job here. They are coming off a 42-40 loss last week to Georgia State. As 13-point home favorites. And that's the issue with Coastal right now. Defense, three of the last 4 games, they've allowed 28 or more. So the defense has kind of fallen off in terms of their level of play the last few weeks. And Texas Southern, they gave up 38 in a loss to Georgia Southern, but they can still score points and on offense. And, of course, they have it looks like Tyler Vitt, who's been there forever, now is their quarterback. He had a solid week last week, but you look at Georgia Southern, they were able to run the football with a great deal of success. Texas State defensively is giving up 236 passing yards for 250 the last 3 weeks through the air, 165 rushing yards on the ground. And I don't know if they faced anyone close to as good offensively as Coastal in a while. The last time they did, I guess you could say, was Louisiana, the Cajuns, and they gave up 45 in that game. So total of 60. I think you could get over that number. What do you think, C-Mac?
Yeah, I don't know if McCall's going to play. You talked about McBride's already out with it. God, it's a lot of points. Just Texas State's defense is not very good. I have to lean with the points in this one. And I don't know if he's going to play. I haven't got word. I think he's not going to play.
McCall's in for Coastal.
Is he? Okay. I still don't want to lay. I still don't want to lay 24.5. Maybe look team total, Coastal Carolina. They'll probably score, in the high 30s, low 40s. I don't know what it is, but I won't be playing this game.
Well, they actually, it's funny. I looked into this a couple days ago when I was going through the college games for the weekend. They said for sure, probable at that time. Now I'm seeing downgraded to questionable. So now it's
I think they might not play him. I think this is get in, get out.
Yeah, we'll see. That I'd get off the over if he's not playing. But if he does, I will bet that. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I think it's 42.5 is the team total for Coastal. So, I mean, it's going to be all one-way action. I think as far as the betting goes, the betting markets are going to be back in Coastal in this spot. So you're probably going to get not as good a value on the number, and the team total is a little high. I think with the question mark at quarterback, they will score points, but maybe a first half look possibly for Coastal. That's all I can come up with on this game.
All right, boss.
Give me the points with Texas State, man. Even with McCall in, Coastal sometimes struggles against all kinds of teams. Like they have to pull a rabbit out of a hat a lot of times to win a lot of games, believe it or not. But McCall's everything to their offense. They didn't have him last week, and they were way off beat. Even the injured McCall is not a full 100% McCall. So I have to take the points in that one.
I would agree with that. I mean, that's a lot of points. I would only look to the dog there as well because, again, Coastal, you just saw them lose outright as double-digit favorites last week. Arkansas State, Georgia State. We've got Georgia State 16-point home favorites, 65.5 the total in this one. There's no doubt Georgia State's the better team. There's no argument there. They're coming off that impressive win we just talked about it, beating Coastal last week. And this is a huge game for them. At 5-5, they get bowl eligibility with a victory here. In this game, I firmly expect them to get the win. They've covered 5 straight, by the way, Georgia State going into this game, and they found themselves a quarterback here, Darren Granger. He's played solid. They've been able to run the ball. You can do anything against Arkansas State's defense because they don't stop anything. They don't stop the run. They don't stop the pass. I mean, I could only lay the points here. I don't know if I will off the big win, but I could definitely lean hard to Georgia State. And another game where if you can get anything offensive, it looks like Blackman could be back for Arkansas State. So they're going to be able to use the 2 quarterback system, Lane Hatcher and James Blackman in this game. So maybe this helps the offense out for the Red Wolves. And if it does, I could see this game going over the total at 82 points with Georgia State and Coastal last week. I think we could get over the number here. Connor, Arkansas State, Georgia State.
Sure, Jim. Appreciate it. And Trey, Arkansas State game, I want nothing to do with this team. Just the defense, I don't want to bet with them, against them. Ugh, pass. Whew. See ya.
Nothing wrong with that. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I passed up on it also. Big win for Georgia State last week. Arkansas State has been shaky all season long. Defensively, offensively, they were able to move the ball early on. Now, who knows? But I don't want no part of it.
All right, boss.
It's for me, it's Georgia State or pass. I mean, Georgia State is having a great season, considering, a few losses, but for them, they're having a good season. The run's been working for them, the defense been playing well. So, and the Arkansas State team is all offense, no defense. So it's hard to take teams like that. But then putting 15 points between a passing team and a running team, that's kind of scary, which it can happen, but it's kind of scary.
Next up, Illinois, Iowa. Back to the Big Ten. We've got Iowa, 12-point home favorites, 37.5. The total in this one should be an under. It seems like every 37.5, I'd like it under, but the problem is the total's very low. I could still see this being an extremely low-scoring game, like 20-17 wouldn't shock me here in this game. Now, Iowa's dominated this series history, but look, Illinois has been competitive. They've been feisty in the underdog role, and I just don't trust Iowa to put up points right now. And Illinois' offense isn't spectacular by any stretch of the imagination, but Chase Brown's been a great running back for them. He's really kept their offense afloat, and Brandon Peters is better than Sitkowski. Since they got Brandon Peters back, at least they've had a little bit of a semblance of a passing game. Illinois. Iowa's offense has just been brutal lately. 76 rushing yards or less 3 of the last 4 games. They're just barely averaging 15 points per game the last 4 games. And now they're being asked to win by more than 12 when they're averaging less than 20 points per game. I got to look Illinois here with the points. I mean, you just cannot trust Iowa's offense right now. Or at least I can't trust them. Connor, what do you think here?
Yeah, I know the history, has me a bit, scared, but no way. This is the points with Illinois. I just can't lay 12 with Iowa right now. Different team. We thought they'd get by. Kind of that offense was doing okay. Then their defense had a bunch of injuries. Yeah, just take the points. I know it's tough, but only under. It's only 38.5, but I'd only be on the under. It's just a lean. But
yeah, by the way, the last 3 games here for Illinois. I mean, they beat Penn State in overtime. They beat Minnesota on the road, and Minnesota was red hot going into that game. And the only loss was to Rutgers by 6. So they've been right in every game. Oh, and they're off a bye week as well, Illinois, for this game. So really does set up well for them. Big Ragoo.
Yeah. Is Belima on the sidelines for this? Because I heard he was in COVID protocol.
I believe it's going to be the assistant coaching from the sideline today.
I mean, he's a big piece of that to me anyways, just to, first year coming in. But at the same time, Iowa's been playing some ugly football, but they still have a shot to get in the Big Ten championship too. So that's hanging in the balance. But the numbers, they're trying to scare you off the game with the number 12. They just pull that out of their hat somehow, but I don't think so. Vegas, when they set these numbers, they know what they're doing. So I'm going to go contrarian here. I'm going to say Iowa shows up for a big game today with the coachless team on the other side of the field.
Yeah, it looks like George McDonald, the wide receivers coach for Illinois, is going to be the acting head coach with Brett Bielema not on the sideline for this game as he's in COVID protocol. Boss, what do you think?
Oh, man, after that information, I might have to side with Big Ragoo because most of these teams that be having to take a coach, they've been using the special teams coach. Because a lot of them say that, he ain't doing nothing over there. So why don't you put him in charge of that and let all the other position coaches handle their position while the head coach is not there. So I don't know. That's a little backwards coaching in today's age right now. And at first I would say Illinois because, the Big Ten is the conference of the crabs in the barrel, and this would be a perfect spot for Illinois to come in and knock Iowa off their big horse. So Wisconsin has nothing to worry about. So I don't know in this one, but it'll be a pass for me though.
All right, we've got, as we continue along here, next up, Georgia Tech, Notre Dame. Notre Dame 17.5-point favorites at home, 58 the total. Lean for sure to Notre Dame. I want no part of Georgia Tech. They can't stop anybody right now. Every time they needed to stop Boston College last week, thankfully for me, I liked BC last week, they couldn't get it done. I mean, that defense has fallen on hard times. And let's not look past what Notre Dame is doing offensively lately. They've picked it up. Jack Cohen is playing very well, running the show at quarterback. The defense has played well lately. The question is focus for Notre Dame. They've played some big games, tougher games, primetime games. Now they're playing mediocre Georgia Tech team, but I want no part of Georgia Tech. I don't trust them to match up in the trenches here. Notre Dame's gotten better along both lines of scrimmage, O-line, D-line, the last several weeks. They've improved significantly. I don't want Georgia Tech. I'm not rushing to lay the points, but I'd lay the points before I take Georgia Tech. Connor, what do you think?
Me too. I'd lay it with Notre Dame, but as soon as this many points, Notre Dame will win by 10 here. So this is a game I'm not gonna to bet here. I just can't trust Georgia Tech. Turnovers, the defense is horrible. Notre Dame should get it done. I just don't know if Notre Dame's going to win by 30 or just get in and get out, win by 10. So it's a pass for me.
Yeah, you're thinking the same thing as me. And I'll say this, Jordan Yates, things they picked up their offense a little bit with him last week against Boston College, but can he do it here against Notre Dame on the road is the question. But the offense was a little bit better with Yates, with Sims injured for Georgia Tech at quarterback. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, the question here, early on we were worried about Notre Dame's running game. Coming up against a team like this here, I think they'll be able to run up and down the field all day on this Georgia Tech team. But Georgia Tech's one of those teams that you don't know what team's going to show up also. So for the most part, all that Notre Dame has to do is not screw up to win the game. I don't think they're going to look to win by margin, but I've been backing them a lot this year thanks to my big brother. And we have cashed some tickets on Notre Dame, but this is not one I'm going to get to the window with today.
4 straight losses for Georgia Tech, but none of them by more than 11 points. So keep that in mind. So that's why this is tough to lay this with Notre Dame for me. Boss, how about you? You want to lay it with your boys?
Absolutely not. I'm taking Georgia Tech plus the 17. I told y'all before, they're ACC opponent. They don't have no fear of Notre Dame. They're coming into our house. They're looking for, the best they can do. Like, we play them in several different sports. So, they come in there to take care of business. They're not looking like a poor puppy that's going to get beat up on right away. And then you can't take Notre Dame. I mean, we've been having some success. I wouldn't say so much as in the air because the little running back, his little running scheme's been kind of working for him a little bit. But we're still rotating quarterbacks, man. We still rotating quarterbacks. So I can't lay 17. Still rotating quarterbacks with a Notre Dame team that's at home. We're not one of those teams that like to just impress people by running up the score. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But that's not our forte. We're trying to get out of this game and get to the big West Coast trip to go play Stanford. That'll be, everybody's trying to stay healthy so they can join that big, that's what we do. We travel well, man. We have good vacation spots to go to. So we're coming to Cali soon, you know what I mean? So I don't think that Kelly's out there for blood today. I think he'll go, Georgia Tech, like you said, maybe win by 10, 11, somewhere. It might even be a losing scare for Notre Dame because it's been a while since we had a losing scare. So I'm taking the 17 points with Georgia Tech.
Yeah, they're 5-1 ATS, I think, the last 6 Georgia Tech in that series.
Like, who's kidding who? We know what the Notre Dame passing offense is. It's Michael Mayer, the tight end, and not a whole lot else. I mean, if anything happens to Michael Mayer, the tight end, and he gets injured down the stretch, that's really, he is such a huge, he's 80%, I think, of their passing game, to be honest.
Yeah. And if we up in the first half, no doubt Kelly's going to put in the second team, and we're going to run the ball the second half to play the clock out. So I lean under as well because we don't plan to just roll this team up right here.
All right, next and it is a high total, 58. I think probably because of Georgia Tech's defense. That's why it's so high. Washington, Colorado. We've got Washington 6.5, 7-point road favorites in Boulder, 43 the total in this game. Of course, Jimmy Lake fired, not just for performance, but a little bit of player abuse issues as well that came to light. Huskies defensive coordinator Bob Gregory will be the interim coach as the coaching search will be on for Jimmy Lake's replacement. Never mind the abuse stuff. He deserved to be fired because this program has gone downhill since Peterson stepped aside and he took over. I mean, it's been a steady decline for Washington. It's not been good under Jimmy Lake's watch, so I understand the change. Now, we did see with Gary Patterson fired in season that, TCU rose from the ashes in that first game and won. We saw even Matt Wells, when he got dismissed from Texas Tech, they had a solid first game after the coaching change. Will that be the case for Washington? You got to believe it will, because I think the players are kind of happy he's gone with some of the stuff that we've heard about Jimmy Lake. So I'm going to stay off this. I still can't lay 7 with Washington. No way, no how on the road. I actually lean Colorado, but I've seen this before with maybe the breath of fresh air does breathe some life into Washington today. We'll see. This is just a game I'm going to sit back and watch, see what happens, see what we get out of Washington post Jimmy Lake. What do you think, Connor?
Yeah, I need to say nothing. Pass.
Nothing
You
wrong
said
with
it
that.
all, Ian. You
Yeah.
ripped through it all about the coaching with Lake. Pass.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I like what Ian says about the teams rising up, but I don't know if they got enough to rise up here. Normally, I would be all over a spot like this, but I think this could be Colorado's day to eke a win out here. I don't think. Well, I think it'll be a low scoring either way, so you might maybe lean towards the under possibly. But I'm a big fan of the teams rallying when the coach is gone. First game only.
Yeah. All right, DJ Big Boss.
I'm gonna say Colorado team total over in this one because I think that Washington team, they pack a good pass defense, number one pass defense in the nation, right? And this Colorado team don't really pass at all. They do it all on the ground. So Colorado, I think that run game should get them up and down the field a little bit, and I think it may go over as well. If Colorado's able to move the ball and score twice, then hey, Washington should be able to move the ball a little bit. I don't know though, because Washington offense is trash. But I don't know. Stay away from the total, guys. Stay away from the total. But Colorado team total, man. I think Colorado comes out and put some points on the board for a change.
All right. Next up, we've got Virginia and Pitt. Pitt, 15-point home favorites, 66 the total. We saw all we need. I saw all I needed to see with Jay Woolfolk at quarterback last week for Virginia. He was brutal against Notre Dame. They had no offense without Brennan Armstrong, and it doesn't look like Brennan Armstrong is going to play here on today against Pitt. So there's no way I would back Virginia. Now, do I want to lay 15.5 with Pitt? Maybe, maybe not. I think the best way to go is I've done this a couple times. It's paid off. Why not just bet Pitt team total over 39.5? I think they're good to hit 42. This is a bad Virginia defense. Their secondary's woeful, and that's bad news against a very good quarterback, Kenny Pickett, and a good passing game for the Panthers. So don't lay the points. I say take the team total for Pitt instead. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, no Armstrong, no way. No, we don't want Virginia. Either lay it, or go with the team total with Pitt. Virginia's defense is just horrible. They better get that. Notre Dame didn't need to, but because they were just kicking their ass. It could be Leary. This could be 35-0. I think. Pitt.
Yeah, definitely. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I was gonna play the over with if Armstrong was in, but either way, I was leaning hard towards Pitt. That's just more the value for me to bet on Pitt here. I think Pitt wins by 3 touchdowns, easy.
All right, liking Pitt, boss.
Hey, I'm loving Pitt too, and guess why, Ian? It's in my Notre Dame hangover spot right here. So Virginia.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
Notre Dame. Yep, last week.
Not having the quarterback is even worse. But even if they had him, they still in the hangover spot, and I like Pitt.
All right. Next up, we've got a good one here. SMU, Cincinnati. Cincinnati, 10-point home favorite, 65 the total. I'm on the ponies here. Pony up. Pony Express. I think SMU gives them a game. Cincinnati, we talk about they needed to get margin. Yeah, they needed to get margin against teams that are much weaker than SMU. And Cincinnati's defense is really good. The secondary is really good. They have not faced anything close in their schedule. Go down their schedule and look. They have not faced anything close to a passing game like the one Tanner Mordecai and SMU can bring to the table here in this game. I think it's competitive. Where's the evidence of Cincinnati pulling away from teams? And they faced South Florida, Navy, Tulsa, much worse teams than SMU lately and barely gotten by. This is a live dog to me. With all the pressure, and they've sort of not played their best under this pressure and the weight on their shoulders, Cincy not only covering, SMU could actually shock Cincinnati, win outright. So I think there's a very live road dog here. And the back door is always open with an offense like SMU's. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, I lean SMU here. I haven't bet it. You guys the last few weeks like SMU. I don't like laying points with them in those games, but catching points I do. So I lean them. I haven't bet it yet. But Cincinnati doesn't seem like the same team. 4 straight ATS losses. Who's going to come to play? They're the better team all around, better defense. They just haven't got it done against the number. So this is an interesting one here for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And I know those pass defense numbers are gaudy for Cincy, but nothing close to a good passing attack they've faced compared to what they'll see today. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, you look at SMU's roll away from home. They are 1-4, but they're usually laying, not getting, and their
Yeah.
offense will be up to it here. I think as good as Cincinnati is, I think they'll play close with them. I think it's strong. I haven't got to the window with it, but yeah, more than likely, if you're getting double digits on a team like this that can put points up against a team that's having trouble covering numbers and usually a favorite on the road and give me a SMU in the spot plus.
All right. What do you think here, boss?
Well, I'm off the game, but I don't. I mean, SMU had two big letdown spots. I was on them early in the season, but recently they had two down spots. They did bounce back against UCF, but that's UCF, and they're coming to play a Cincinnati team that they haven't quite been as fancy as we wanted them to be. But hey, they've been winning. That's the bottom line. But they need to do something a little impressive to going down the stretch right here for college playoffs and all that kind of stuff. So a good win today by like 20 points or something would be a nice thing to put on the books for Cincinnati. But I see Cincinnati struggling in the first half on most of these games. So if you really like trying to fade the undisputed champ right there, I think you should try to fade them in the first half. But if not, man, I'll take Cincy and just lay the points, let it go.
All right, we go to the next game, Michigan, Maryland. Michigan, 15.5-point road favorites, 55 the total. Maryland, this is a tough one because there's no way I'm taking Michigan. Not in this spot after the Penn State win, Ohio State on deck next week, which could decide that division in the Big Ten. This is not the spot I'm laying more than 2 touchdowns with Michigan this week. No way, no how. But can we trust Maryland? I mean, it's just been a rough go for them the last 4 games. Reluctantly, I'd lean to the Terps getting the points because I could see Michigan just doing enough to win and move on. 7-point win, 10-point win. I definitely lean Maryland, but boy, that team is not played some good football either side of the football the last few weeks. Conor Mac, Michigan, Maryland.
Yeah, I don't want Michigan. No way. I can't trust Maryland. This team's defense is not very good, and they turn the ball over too much. So as much as I want a home double-digit dog at home here, they're an ugly. I don't want them.
Big Ragoo.
This is a rare opportunity to bet it over in the Big Ten, believe it or not. And like Conor was saying, Maryland's defense is kind of a little bit weak, and we can score all day long. And I think I'm not going to say that Michigan's going to get to that, 3-score number, but I like to lean towards the over here in this spot. I think a turnover or 2 away possibly, and Michigan probably hit like the high 30s, and maybe Maryland hits the mid 20s. So I think we get 60 plus in the spot.
Yeah, even if they're not focused or, let down, whatever, sandwich spot, look ahead to Ohio, whatever you want to call it, Maryland run defense has been pretty bad, and it should be good for Michigan because when they can run the football, they have success. What do you think, boss?
Yeah, I think it's a good spot for Michigan, but yeah, I agree with not laying that many points. But I also agree with Big Ragoo. So with not laying that many points, the spot will probably be taking the over in this one. It's kind of set where you got a chance to take the over right here. And this Maryland team, he's been back and forth, injured and playing. So he's back playing, and he gets outside of the pocket and does things, and that helps him get up and down the field, especially against a good Michigan defense. So I think Maryland puts some points on the board, and we get over the total as well.
All right, couple of overleans here in this one for Michigan and Maryland. All right, next up, Minnesota, Indiana. Minnesota 7.5-point road favorites, 43 the total. It's been a while since I've laid points on the road with Minnesota, but I did that here. In fact, it's actually one of my better sides today. I just don't see how Indiana stays in this game for 4 quarters. They are just brutal on both sides of the ball. 2-8 now on the year. We just talked about, Maryland. Well, they lost to Maryland. 38-35. They got blown out by Rutgers and Michigan the last 2 weeks. There's no offense to be had with this Indiana team. Of course, Penix got injured earlier in the year, and now they're down to the likes of Donovan McCulley, Grant Grimmel, and Jack Tuttle at quarterback, and none of them have been any good. Minnesota, meanwhile, they've lost 2 in a row. I get it, against Illinois and Iowa. After a great 4-game win streak, but I think they can get back on track. And quite simply, they can run the football because Indiana is giving up a lot of yards on the ground, especially of late, and that should bode well for Minnesota's offense. They should overwhelm Indiana in the trenches. The Minnesota defense is still very good, and I don't see Indiana doing much offensively here against them. So I'm laying the points here. I think it's a double-digit win for Minnie. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. That Indiana offense is tough to watch. Last week, that was horrible. So yeah, I'm with you. I lay it with Minnesota 7.5.
Yep, big Ragoo.
It's senior day in Bloomington, but it's not going to matter for this squad today, man. They're going to get dominated on both sides of the ball, and I'm not going to say it's going to get really ugly, but it's going to be an ugly day for Indiana. And then there's no way. There's the only way you can bet this is Minnesota laying a touchdown here in this spot. So give me Minnesota minus.
All right, boss. You're muted, boss.
Dang it. Give me Minnesota as well. The Indiana offense is horrible, man. They're last in passing, rushing, everything, man. So, I mean, who's going to back a zero right now at this time of the season? You know, they're zero. They ain't going to be a hero. So go ahead and take Minnesota today with that good defense.
Yeah, it's tough sledding for them. Nebraska, Wisconsin, 10-point home favorites, 43.5 the total in this one. Wisconsin's been definitely a freight train all of a sudden lately. They've turned their season around. 7 at the defense has been lights out. They've won 6 straight. They're 5-1 ATS in those games. They've won each of their last 4 games by 17 points or more against Purdue, Iowa, Rutgers, Northwestern. Nebraska will offer up a little more resistance than that, and Nebraska is off a bye week, so it's not easy to go against Wisconsin here, but if I'm playing, I'm taking Nebraska with the – I just got to hope Martinez doesn't screw up too much, and this is a really good Wisconsin defense, and you better believe I'm worried about that, those turnovers, which often happen from him. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, this is a pass for me. I'm not going to play it. I just don't trust Martinez. Wisconsin's humming. They're at home. I lean the under, but it's pretty low total here. That's all in this one. I doubt I get to the window here.
All right, big Ragoo.
Yeah, I lean to the lean also Connor on the under on this spot, but Nebraska off arrest. I think Frost got like a year extension on his contract. It's just Wisconsin's game not to screw up. But do I want to lay, more than two digits with the Wisconsin to get the cover here? Probably not, but it's probably the right play. But I'm not going to play it. But
all right, boss. Muted.
Man, I was considering laying it with Wisconsin, although such a dry, nasty offense. Somehow that number 1 defense has just been giving them enough time to wear teams down and get points on the board. So the 10 is really not that bad if you really think about it with this team. Although they can't just throw the ball down the field, they have good running schemes. They're good on third downs. All that good stuff on offense, but the defense is the killer, though. No way you can – it's hard to take the other side just because of the defense. So I like Wisconsin. Lay the points. Go for it.
All right, we have East Carolina Navy. ECU 4-point road favorites, 46.5 the total in this one. I have a small bet on East Carolina, and I've loved East Carolina for a lot, and I like them enough to bet them here. But here's the issue. They're off a big win against Memphis last week in OT. They play Cincinnati next week, and they play a Navy team that's off a bye. It's their final home game. And you talk about senior days that matter. Forget Indiana. This is a senior day that matters here. Navy's been awesome at home in these senior day spots. Really, really strong. That's the one thing that does concern me. But I still think, man, this line still looks cheap to me. I think East Carolina's the much better team, both sides of the football. But the spot is it's a clear spot advantage for Navy, no question. So small bet, East Carolina, minus 3.5. Connor, what do you think here?
Yeah, last week, went to OT, it pushed the total, but East Carolina's defense been pretty good. I can't lay with them either. This is a tricky spot for Cincinnati next week, but I lean under a little bit in this 46.5.
Yeah, Holton Ahlers, the quarterback's got it rolling, and the defense has it playing as good as I've ever seen the defense play.
Yeah,
under Mike Houston, they've definitely fixed things on that side of the ball. Big Ragoo.
Not enough offense for Navy. Obviously, they've had their issues putting points up this year. But, like you said, the spot. I mean, the game has East Carolina written all over it, but I got totally off of this game. I couldn't come up with an angle to get to the window.
Boss.
Hey, I'm a lean ECU in this one because technically this is a Notre Dame hangover for Navy, but they had a bye week last week, so I don't know. But I probably won't get to the window with it. But I lean ECU. We'll see what happens.
Right, they did play Notre Dame 2 weeks ago, but of course didn't play last week. So the bye week in between, we'll see if that makes it a better opportunity for them maybe to win the game and cover the number. App State Troy. App State 10-point road favorites, 51.5 the total. Very clear pass for me. App State's clinched their side of the division in the Sun Belt last week with that win. Who knows if they rest people or who knows how focused they are. And I could only back Troy, but I don't trust Troy. This is an up and down team. It's a coach that I think is underachieved here, Chip Lindsey, with this program, and I don't trust them enough. So, yeah, it's a Troy spot. I could only take Troy. I ain't going to take Troy. Pass. Connor?
Yeah, I needed more points here with Troy because I don't trust him either because App State on the road, this is a flat spot. So I lean Troy, but I'm not going to take it. It's just a lean.
Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I lean Troy plus the points here too. I think they could probably muster enough offense here. I mean, I think we'll see points by both teams, but I would lean Troy. Not a bet, just a lean.
All right, boss.
Hey, in this one, I'm gonna go App State. App State is 7-3 ATS. Man, they've been getting to the number convincingly in a lot of spots. So I don't think they let up off the gas. They're on the road. You're there to play football, so go play football. Despite who's coming next, despite already winning the conference, go play football. I like App State.
Yeah, App State will be in the Sun Belt championship game after winning that last week to clinch that spot. All right, next up, we've got Old Dominion, Middle Tennessee State, MTSU, 3.5-point home favorites, 49 the total. The money's coming in on Old Dominion, and I 100% agree. 100% agree. It's actually one of my favorite sides today. I've talked up this Old Dominion team for weeks on this show. They've improved. They've hit all of a sudden they've hit the ground running the last few weeks. You look at what they've done. It started with that near miss against Marshall. They lost in overtime. Yeah, they had a setback against Western Kentucky, but that's one of the best teams in the conference. But since then, 3 straight wins and covers, Louisiana Tech, FIU, and Florida Atlantic. Very impressive win last week against the Owls. I think they keep it going here. And I know Middle Tennessee, they've won 3 of their last 4, but they beat UConn. They beat Southern Miss, who's awful, and FIU. And I think they gave Middle Tennessee a power rating boost because of beating up FIU. Everybody's beating up Florida International. That team has quit. I don't think you should get a boost in your power rating because you beat Florida International by 40. Connor, Big Ragoo, DJ Big Boss, and I could put a football field together, a team together, including us, and we'd be able to maybe beat FIU by 40 at this point in time. But I like Old Dominion here. I think they could win the game. And keep in mind, quarterback injuries still for the Blue Raiders going into this game. That's a concern. Remember, Chase Cunningham first of all, Hockman transferred out. They got to Chase Cunningham at quarterback, but now he's out for the season, and they're down to Nicholas Badiato as the quarterback. And, third-string quarterback, he's been hit or miss. I don't know if he's got enough in him to cover as home favorites here. I like Old Dominion. I think they got a real shot to win once again. Conor Mac, what do you think?
Yeah, if you just get 3 in the hook, I think you're good. This Old Dominion team from the beginning was one of the worst we were talking about. Then they got better. They hung in games, covered. Now they're winning games outright and covering. So I'm with you here, and I got to take them again. Take the 3.5. I think they could win money line, sprinkle a little money line as well.
Good point by Cliff. Southern Miss looked good last night. You're right. And that's 2 weeks in a row. Like, they put a scare into UTSA. They beat Louisiana Tech last night with this Wildcat quarterback offense they're running with Frank Gore Jr. They don't have a prototype quarterback right now. They're just playing Wildcat offense and letting Frank Gore Jr. run it from the quote-unquote quarterback spot. And since then, they've looked better, Southern Miss, believe it or not. I got to give Will Hall credit. I'm like, what are you doing, man? And he's actually looked like a genius because they scared UTSA, and they beat up Louisiana Tech last night running that gimmicky Wildcat offense. So that's why he's the coach. That's why he's getting paid the big bucks. He knew what he was doing there, and it's helped that team. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, Old D or pass for me in this spot. Even though, like you said, we could beat FIU. if we fielded a team. But that was an easy win last week for us. This week's going to be a little different coming up against a hot team coming in. Although, early on in the season, the numbers reflect the spots, with the 1-4, but you can throw that out the window here because it's a different team right now. So team on a roll, I would lean plus the hook. Make sure you get that 3.5 though, because it's going to be a close game. It's not going to be an easy game. It'll be a close game. Get the half a point. Make sure you get it.
All right, boss.
Hey, it's a pass for me. That one is it's just a pass. Middle Tennessee, they could put some points up. Who knows what we're going to get out of these two today? But I was fading OD from the beginning of the season because they was one of the teams that didn't play during the COVID year. But they proved me wrong in a lot of spots, so I'm off.
All right, next up we've got. Let me just see here. Arkansas, Alabama. Alabama 20.5, 21-point home favorites, 58.5 the total in this game. At 21, I'm taking a small bite on Arkansas. I am. At that number, I have to. Because let's not forget, LSU almost scared the living daylights out of Alabama a few weeks ago. And I'll tell you what, Arkansas is better than LSU. Now, and this is their role. We like Arkansas as big dogs, not just underdogs, big dogs. So I'm going to take a small piece of Arkansas plus 21. Their secondary's played well. That's the thing. And they're going to have to here against Bryce Young. The question is now for Arkansas, what can they do offensively? Because they've got to run the football. We'll see if they can. I don't know if they can. And if Jefferson has to throw it, I don't know if that's good. But it's a lot of points. We did kind of see Alabama. Look, even the Tennessee game, that was like a one-score game going into the fourth quarter, and then it fell apart for Tennessee. So I've still got questions about Arkansas or Alabama as 3-touchdown favorites against I don't want to say a great Arkansas team, but they're a solid, good team, capable, competent team. So at 21, I'm going to get in with a small bet here, Arkansas, the Razorbacks. Conor Mac, what do you think?
I haven't bet anything here. I'm still thinking about this because I've stayed off Arkansas after that kind of 4-0 beginning. They hit the shits. So it's difficult. I always like my Bama first half. But at 21, I want to take Arkansas. So right now, I'm just hemming and hawing over this game.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, well, the thing with the early wins for Arkansas, a little lighter schedule than they played Georgia, got blanked, then or A&M played a tough game there, then and had to go play Georgia after that. So those were the 2 L's that kind of got their ball rolling. But now they're kind of getting back on track here a little bit. So I'm with Ian. I gotta take the plus points. I tried it with New Mexico State. I get a little better team this week with Arkansas, and then I did hit the nail on the head with LSU versus Alabama. So we're going up against you again, Bama. Let's go for 3.
Yeah, 2 wins since the bye week. The bye week has kind of refreshed this Arkansas team. They beat Mississippi State at home, and then they beat LSU on the road in overtime. And again, a lot of their losses, other than the Georgia loss, that's the one loss they've really been whipped, but they've been in a lot of other games, even the ones they lost. Boss, what do you think?
And Big Ragoo likes to play with fire.
I love it.
I'm going to leave that one alone, man. Alabama been so up and down. The Alabama first halves, I think, are not profitable this year so far or something. It's not the thing we've been getting, and who knows what comes out this week. But I don't know. Maybe that does lead to value for Arkansas. But Arkansas, I agree with Conor Mac. I was on them first 4, and then ever since they shit the bed, I don't know, because you start seeing that they get a little one-dimensional. If you get up on them, all they could do is run the ball, so they can't really pass to catch up or something like that. So playing against the Alabama team, if you get the good Alabama team and they get up real fast, it's a wrap.
Right, we got Marshall and Charlotte. Marshall 14.5-point road favorite, 62 the total. Must win for Marshall if they're going to keep any chance of winning the East Division of Conference USA, keep their title game hopes alive. Obviously, they should win here, but Charlotte's not a pushover on offense. They can move the ball a little bit with Chris Reynolds in this one. Not a game I'm involved in, but I would lean Charlotte above 2 touchdowns. Connor, what do you think?
Marshall? No way. Charlotte or pass?
I don't blame you. They're sketchy as road chalk to trust in.
Yeah, there's no way.
Big Ragoo, what do you think?
I'm with Connor. Me and Connor feel the same exact way about Marshall. But hey, a plus thing for Charlotte, there are good ATS on the road, 4-1 and straight up. So maybe upset minded Charlotte. Possibility, you never know what can happen. But I think Marshall probably gets in that championship game later on, or gets they're already bowl eligible, so who knows where they move from this point. But I'd take Charlotte to pass.
All right, boss. Muted.
I think whatever little skin disease Ragoo and Conor have with Marshall is spreading over to me because now I'm shitting the bed with Marshall. So it's a pass for me because of you two. I passed this game.
All right, the big one in Conference USA. This will decide the West Division. UAB, UTSA, very simple. Winner plays in the Conference USA championship game. Should be a good one in the Alamo Dome, San Antonio, home of Pub Sports Radio, the home base. UTSA 4-point home favorites, 53.5 the total in this one. Everybody's loving UAB here. They bet UAB all week. Bill Clark, underdog role. And I don't necessarily disagree. And, you know, they've been in these big games. They've been great in this conference. They've won this conference before. This is new territory for UTSA. But not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say. UTSA has been the class of this conference all season long. They're a better team on talent than UAB, in my opinion, who's still playing with a backup quarterback. UAB's defense has been good for years and still good, but they've had some holes in it. They've had some games where they've given up points. Rice, Louisiana Tech. They've not faced an offense like Frank Harris, Sincere McCormick, and this dynamic, balanced UTSA offense. Now the number's getting low enough that I'm getting interested. Give me the meet Roadrunners here. 3.5, 4 at home. It's their day. It's their time. They win this game. Connor, what do you think?
I'm off this game. I want to take UAB. I just think you might be right. I think this might be UTSA's year. I've backed him a ton as well. So I'm going to stay off here.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, I think UTSA will probably come out on top, but my look here is more towards the under. I think they're both going to try to figure each other out early.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a high-scoring affair right off the get-go. Maybe look first half under, full game under.
Yeah, it's definitely. I could see that being the case, and we know these two teams. UTSA, their defense is very good, so keep that in mind as well. What do you think, boss?
It's a pass for me, but I'm a root for our Pub Sports people down there in San Antonio and take UTSA. But I don't know. You know, we've been talking a lot of games where teams are close to winning the conference and stuff like that. There's going to be some upsets in there somewhere. This is a spot that could be an upset, but at the same time, you don't just jump in front of a team that's having the season of their lifetime because it's still the season of their lifetime. We tried that with Coastal Carolina last year, and see what happened.
Great comparison. I love that. You're right. Coastal Carolina people thought, oh, now they're gonna fall apart in the big game. You know, when they played App State and they played Louisiana Cajuns and all those, and they never did. I think it's UTSA's time. They've been the best team in this conference, start to finish, and I think they show it today. UConn, UCF. UCF 30-point home favorites, 57 the total. Don't get UConn into betting this game. That's what I like to say about it. I'm passing. I want no part of UConn, and I'm not laying 30 with Central right now. So pass for me. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah. UConn games, no involvement.
Yeah.
Pass.
Yeah. Big Ragoo.
Maybe look to a team total UCF. Let's see what it is here real quick without wasting a lot of everybody's time. 43. Yeah. Not with the kid that's quarterback and running the ship now. So
no. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not with Mikey Keene. Not at all. Boss, what do you think?
I would have to just lean over in this game. Both of them really ain't worth 2 peas in a pot. So, you know, put them together. Maybe you can have lunch. So I lean over.
Very good. Jake Burns, I agree with that. Villanova beats Tennessee in college basketball. I think so today. The UCLA game toughened them up. They'll be ready for Tennessee today. Better coach, too. No issues there. Syracuse, NC State. NC State 11-point home favorites, 49.5 the total. So I lean Syracuse early in the week. I still do. But, man, I was really disappointed with their effort against Louisville last week. And it's like the bye week threw off their momentum. Like they're rolling going into the bye week. They have the bye week. They play Louisville, and they get absolutely ambushed in that game against Louisville last week. And NC State's pretty good on defense. Well, that offense was shut down by Louisville, and NC State's got an even better defense. So maybe the under here in this game. Connor, what do you think?
Pass. I don't want to after seeing last week. I know they have problems against Louisville. It seems like every year, but I don't want to lay double digits with NC State here.
Yeah, and NC State's offense is It's not like the passing game with Leary is good, but it's not great. It's not explosive. It's not quick strikes. So even laying doubles with them can be dicey. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, Leary's a good quarterback. He's not like top tier, but he's like just a cut beneath. They'll score points here. I don't know if they win by margin, but I think the game is going to be tightly played. I don't think they win by more than 10 points. So I would lean Syracuse in this spot.
Boss.
Syracuse is 3-1 on the road. ATS getting 11 points. That could be a spot, but I wouldn't take it.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing so well, you have the bye, and then you look so poorly last week. That's the concern I have for Syracuse here. Florida, Missouri, Florida 8.5-point road favorite, 69 the total. I'm just taking over and looking for points. I mean, I don't want either side. Florida's defense, when you're giving up in the 50s to Samford, you got problems. Missouri can still move the ball. Bazelak's been banged up, but he did play last week, and I think he's going to be in today once again for Missouri at the quarterback spot for them, and obviously that's significant. I think Florida can run the football against Missouri's horrible run defense, and that's going to make their offense work because they got to run it to have success. So both ways, I think teams move the ball, put up points. I'm going to just go over, stay off the side, and because I don't want to endorse either side. I just go out there, put some points on the board. Two horrendous defenses. I think you'll see that. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, you know who's laughing? Grantham's laughing right now because when Samford scored 52 on Florida, it's like the most points they ever gave up, and they gave it up to I don't know what a Division 7
FCS.
School. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But anyways,
maybe the personnel just sucks on that defense.
Yeah,
now Grantham got the blame for it all. Yeah,
it's right. Sometimes it happens that way. You know, it's not what it seems it is, and then boom, there it is. But anyways, it's a dead pass for me. It's got to be Missouri plus the points or a pass.
All right, boss.
On this one right here, I lean under, man. I think that total is really high. If you look at the history of the two matchups, it doesn't really get that high. I think it's a lot of recency bias in that. You're getting a 69 right there. Florida hasn't really been playing like that against a lot of competition unless it's really, really lower ranked composition. And Missouri's a team, you know, they in the same conference or whatever. They're not that bad. So I don't see how the total is going to get that high.
All right, we've got Louisiana Raging Cajuns, Liberty Flames. Liberty 4-point home favorites, 53 the total. I like Liberty here, lean over as well, but I like Liberty. They're 4-0 at home. Louisiana Cajuns have already wrapped up their division, the West Division, in the Sun Belt. So they know they're going to be in the conference championship game playing App State. So this game is really inconsequential for them. I think it's a bigger game for Liberty. They're at home. To me, the Raging Cajuns have been all right this year, but they've not been as terrific, as dominant as they've been statistically in years past. And Liberty, actually, believe it or not, has better defensive numbers than the Cajuns. And, of course, the dynamic Malik Willis leading that offense. They also have a bye week going into this game. I think it sets up well. I'll lay the small number with Liberty here. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
This is a spot I usually love to be on with Louisiana catching points, you know, and it's a rival. It's a rival type game. Usually against the bigger schools, they play up for those. But like you said, the only thing that I'm taking pause on is the fact that they are going to be playing in the bigger game down the stretch. But and they play Monroe next week, so there's no look ahead either way. But I think Levi Lewis is going to play pretty well here. And I look for a competitive game, and I'm still gonna side with the Cajuns. I just like the spot for them getting points and a little sprinkle on the money line.
All right, there we go. Leaning the Cajuns there. Boss, what do you think?
I lean under in this one. You know, I think Levi Lewis then went from sugar to shit. I think both of them have really good defenses, and there'll be a defensive struggle between the two. So I lean the under in this one.
Looking toward the under in this game for DJ Big Boss. All right, next up as we continue along here, 4 p.m. Eastern, we've got UCLA USC, the old LA showdown here. UCLA 3.5-point road favorite, 65.5 the total in this game. Personnel-wise, I do think UCLA is a better team than USC. It's tricky, though, to lay points. I mean, these teams seem to play tight games, close games, down to the wire when they play head-to-head. Including last year, USC won by 5. I think UCLA, that loss, they remember it. It was a gut-wrenching loss, and I think UCLA is better than USC this time around. I'd lay the points before I take USC, and I don't love doing that in rivalry games, but I'm going to make an exception here. I think UCLA is better with DTR. That I think he's played better than Slovis this year. The defense for USC has been awful the last 4 games. And the UCLA's not got a great defense either, but I think they're a little bit better. They'll make the stops when they need them. I like UCLA. Hard to not like the over, too. 3 straight overs in the series history, USC, UCLA. So I like the over, and I like the Bruins to get it done. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you on the Bruins here. I just think the season's gone a lot better for them. You know, a lot less, like my boy likes to say, staying out of that drama across town over there. So I just think it's a little more focused team, talent wise, a little better coaching. You know, short number. Give me UCLA. Lay the field goal.
Yeah, and a tough loss against USC last year at the end. And they
Revenge.
probably feel they're the better team this year, and I think they are, and I think they show it today. Boss, what do you think?
Hey, you know, it's hard for me to go on that Trojan side, so I'm a lean with the Care Bears too. I think the coach's seat is on fire right now. You know, he got to show and improve. A win against USC in this spot would definitely keep his job, you know, well. And as me and Connor talked about, takes 30 points for UCLA to win. So I lean over on this as well. But a weird factor that I have in this game right here, for some reason, I think I'm gonna go drop a sprinkle on it. I think this game will go to overtime.
There you go. There are some books you can bet that. So it wouldn't, yeah, it's probably going to be a close game. We'll see if that indeed happens. It was down to the wire last year with these two. Temple and Tulsa. Tulsa 22-point home favorites, 51 the total. Okay, Tulsa's offense is not an offense I'm laying 22 with. Not at all. Davis Brin's been disappointing. Their offense is just not very good this year. But at the same point in time, am I backing Temple? I don't care how many points they're getting. I'm not backing Temple right now. This is one of the easiest games for me to say pass and move on to the next one. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
It was a dead. As soon as I looked at this thing, I was off at 100%. Not even. I didn't waste my time looking at this game.
Yeah, boss, what do you think?
If you the type that waited around the week 12 to play a game like this, me and you don't watch the same kind of football. This is a pass.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
It's tough to trust either side there. Same with this game. Kansas, TCU. TCU 21-point home favorite, 64 the total in this game. TCU's not a lay 3 touchdowns with kind of team. No way, no how are they? Even though they've shown some life since the coaching change. Although they got bombed by Oklahoma State last week, they did beat Baylor before that. But they're not a 3 touchdown favorite team. And as much as I could probably only take Kansas here after the win last week, that they celebrated like they won the national championship last week. You saw the celebration for Kansas and Lance Leipold's team. Now you got to go on the road, face TCU. And I've seen enough out of Kansas where they have that one peak performance. And remember, they had that against Oklahoma where they hung in there. They gave Oklahoma a scare. What happened the next week? They lost 55-3. So I'm worried it's like that, 48-3 all over again here today against TCU. A big hangover after the win against Texas last week. So I ain't getting involved in this one. Anything here, Big Ragoo, Kansas, TCU?
Yeah, I kind of tend to agree with you about the possible hangover look, but TCU's defense isn't stopping anybody no time soon either. So that's the only thing that would give me a little bit of pause. I'm not getting to the window with TCU. I would either have to back Kansas or pass, even though, like you said, they could get their asses handed to them. But the way TCU's defense is playing, I don't want no part of that.
You know what? Over. I might
There you
put
go. Over
something
might
on
be a
the
good look.
over because neither defense can be trusted right now. And even in the win against Texas, they still gave up in the 50s. That Kansas team. Boss, what do you think?
I can only see value in taking the points in a situation like that. That's sort of a bum fight this year. I mean, you can make the case that TCU is
Right.
a little bit better, but sort of a bum fight.
All right, Rice and UTEP. UTEP 9-point home favorites, 47 the total in this game. And I've been on this show week in, week out, banging the drum for this Miners team, cashing tickets with them, mining for units, mining for profits with UTEP, and they've rewarded me in a lot of games this year. However, they've rewarded me, pick 'em, underdogs, slight favorites. Now they're 9-point home favorites. So now the odds makers are catching on to the improvement that UTEP's made this year. 6-4. They're going to go to a bowl game. I know, and now they've got to basically win this game here today, and they have lost 3 straight. going into this one against great teams, though. North Texas, UTSA, Florida Atlantic, pretty good teams. Rice is not a very good team. So UTEP should win this game. I'm just not comfortable laying 9, this many points. But Rice is down to like a freshman quarterback starting for them in this game, and their defense has been horrible. So this might be one of those games, maybe a UTEP team total over, because then you don't have to worry about laying the points, and just that maybe they can score and move the ball against a pretty bad Rice defense. Big Ragoo.
Yeah, that was my look too. I was leaning towards a minor over. I think Rice is giving up like close to 37 points a game. I was kind of worried about laying the double digits, and now it's kind of dropped down a little bit too. So there's some, I don't know how much money's coming in on Rice, but the numbers kind of moved down ever so slightly. But I would lean Miners team total over.
All right, boss.
I don't know. I'll be off this game. They haven't really covered that 9. They've been good. ATS getting points, but giving up points right here is not a. I don't know, but they do for a game to really get a chance to let their hair fly in the wind and have some fun. But they still got to play UAB next, so they have to keep everybody healthy and all that stuff. So I don't know. It's a pass for me.
All right, BYU, Georgia Southern. BYU 20-point road favorites, 57.5 the total in this game. What a weird game on the schedule for both teams. I mean, Georgia Southern goes out of the conference season this late and play BYU, and BYU goes on the road here. So a little bit of a weird scheduling spot. BYU should be able to move the ball here against Georgia Southern. You look at Georgia Southern's defense; it's absolutely brutal against the run. And guess what? BYU's terrific running the football. So I don't know if I want to lay 20. It's not, BYU's in a weird spot here too, but maybe this is another team total look potentially over 38.5 for BYU, because I don't think Georgia Southern is slowing down BYU. And BYU, I don't think is going to be fooled by the triple option, because they see a lot of Air Force. They've played teams that run that before, and they're used to it. So I think, Penn State, the number dropping is there might be an injury for Penn State or a couple guys not playing. So keep an eye on that. But Rutgers has taken a heavy amount of money, and we'll try to find out why that is. Big Ragoo, any thoughts? BYU, Georgia Southern.
Yeah, when I first looked at it, I thought the same thing with the travel spot and just kind of a weird type of game this time of the year for BYU. And then Georgia Southern, it's not going to be nothing fancy looking at the triple option play from Georgia Southern here, but at the same time, I think they could stay within that number. So I would lean towards Georgia Southern getting the points. My ratings have them like 2 touchdowns difference, not 3. So I would lean Georgia Southern plus the points here.
All right, boss.
I kind of like BYU since BYU had a bye week and came back. They're 2-1 ATS. They're covering the big number and everything, but I can't really get to the window with it because I seen something in BYU earlier in the season when they had their downfalls, and it just looked like the coach had more enthusiasm about playing than the players, and that's a bad combination right there. So I don't really want to continue to lay it, but I'm gonna keep an eye on them. We talked about BYU early in the season. They're competing for a spot in the conference when they realign the conferences. So their application is still wide open. Wins are wins for them, and I hope them the best. But I'm gonna stay off of it. But I lean BYU.
All right, early best bets. We'll throw them out here because we're about 12 minutes away from noon Eastern when the first games kick off. I'm going to throw out 2 best bets, the same game. Boston College, minus 2.5, 3, whatever's out there right now in the over. I like both of those, side and total. Florida State, Boston College. We'll go with that. I also like the over in the Michigan State game. I like Rutgers still. I mean, the number now, you're not getting the best of it. It looks like it's Clifford, by the way. He was introduced just now at Penn State, but not in uniform, and an indication that he's not healthy enough to play. So it's looking like it'll be the backup for Penn State. It looks that way anyway, and that's what they're reacting to in terms of Rutgers from plus 18 to plus 14 right now in that game that is 10 minutes away from starting. Big Ragoo, your early best bet.
Boston College was my best bet too, but I'm going to give something a little different. I'm going to go with well, it's not really an early best bet, but it's an earlier type game, 3:30 game. It's going to be Pittsburgh laying the points.
Yeah,
but I like Boston College also. That was my best bet.
There we go. All right. Well, BC and Pitt. We'll say it both for Big Ragoo. Boston early best bet.
Hey, I'm gonna jump in there where I think the books are most upside down and continue to try to drag the public along the sad story of back in Clemson, and I'm gonna take Wake Forest.
All right, Wake Forest plus 4.5 against Clemson. Good stuff. All right, we'll move on now as we've got late afternoon and evening games left on the slate. We've got Baylor and Kansas State. Kansas State 2.5-point home favorites, 49.5 the total. Beware of the spot for Baylor. Everybody knows about it. Off the huge win against Oklahoma, and now they have to go on the road and face a feisty Kansas State team, physical team at home. And it's a solid Kansas State team. So Baylor has to have their guard up here in this game. Baylor's been a very, very good team to me in terms of cashing tickets. I'm not sure I want to go against them, but boy, there's no way I'm on Baylor in this kind of spot either. And look, Kansas State's won 4 straight. You could argue that the only quality win was against West Virginia last week, but it was a dominant win for them. And they've been better with Skylar Thompson back at quarterback. So I'm definitely off this game, but I'm leery of the spot for sure, like everybody else for Baylor off the big win against Oklahoma. All right, we got Conor Mac with us again. C-Mac, what do you think here? Baylor, Kansas State.
Yeah, Baylor off the huge win. K-State, this is always when I want them at home. But they took all the money here. I haven't bet this game. Like you said, Thompson, since he's been back, they've been a lot better. If this touches 3, I might take Baylor, but I'm just off here.
What's the number currently?
Minus 2.5.
2.5. You're good there still. I think so. It's going to be a tough fought battle either way. Kleiman's kind of kept that Snyder tradition, and Manhattan's always a tough spot to play at. And Baylor coming off of that big win, it's got to be a case. It's a spot for both teams. It's a spot to get off of Baylor and a spot to get on K-State for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be Jordan Travis
maybe.
From Florida State.
I like the under a little bit. Baylor's defense looked really good last week, and K-State, I like them at home. They're deep.
All right, yeah, it'll be Jordan Travis at quarterback for Florida State today. For someone asking in the chat.
Yeah.
Thank you for Nuke Worker for joining us as always. We appreciate it. Good luck to you as well. All right, next game on the slate here: Auburn, South Kakalaki. Auburn 7.5-point road favorites, 45 the total. Bo Nix out for the season for Auburn. Let's see how the backup quarterback does for them. I'm not so sure I'm ready to trust him laying points on the road here in this game. Now with TJ. Now, TJ Finley's been around the block for sure. He's been at other schools. We'll see how he fares here in this game for Auburn against South Carolina. I'd like to see how he plays first. South Carolina's taking the money. I'd probably still lean Gamecocks here. I mean, you wonder now what's left to shoot for Auburn, and they've had a lot of big games. This isn't one of their bigger games, so maybe a flat spot, backup quarterback, lean South Carolina, but I'm going to stay off it. Connor, what do you think here?
Yeah, I'm staying off here as well. I lean South Carolina, though. That's my lean with the points. Nix is out. I think Auburn could go in there and win, but this should be a hard-nosed football game. The totals already went down initially. I like the under. It's dropped to 45. I think this might even drop to 44.5. So take the point. Lean the points in the under here.
Yeah.
Big Ragoo.
Yeah, we hit it right with South Carolina, being the road favorite last week with the Missouri spot, and that was a good play. Now we come back the other way, and we got Auburn that's kind of a little dinged up here in Carolina. They've been solid all year. Even though they haven't been in offensive juggernaut, their defense has always been in games and keeps them in games. So I think we get another look here. Maybe a little overlay. Better than the score here with South Carolina catching the points, but it could be a tricky spot too. They can go in there and lay an egg. So I'm not going to get to the window either way, but I would lean South Carolina.
All right, next up as we continue along here, we've got Cal and Stanford. Cal 2.5-point road favorites, 45.5 the total in this game. Stanford, of course, has fallen on hard times, but remember, Tanner McKee's been out during that time, and I believe he's back here. Yes, he is. Tanner McKee will be back at quarterback here for Stanford. The big game, not so big these days with where Cal and Stanford are in terms of the pecking order in the Pac-12. We'll see how this one goes. This is a tough one because Stanford is better with McKee, but do I trust them to win? Nah, that defense is awful right now for Stanford, and they can't stop the run. And I'll tell you what, Chase Garbers is a better quarterback when Cal runs the football. They should be able to against Stanford. When they run the football, they can win games. I'd lean to Cal here laying less than a field goal on the road, but don't love it. Connor, what do you think?
Pass. I don't want anything to do here. Stanford's look horrible. I like McKee that he's back. I think there's a little bit of life there. Maybe take them at home. Money line here. I'm not playing it.
All right. Big Ragoo.
We haven't got to our Big Ten over, Pac-12 over yet, and this is not one of them either. So I took a hard look to the under on this spot. I think both teams are going to try to, grind it out and try to sneak a win away. 3-point type of game. It play close. I lean towards the under.
Yeah, I'm shocked Razor Sharp's not on Kansas State. I thought that would for sure be a Razor Sharp bet there, but he passed. There we go.
K-State all day.
Boss, what do you think here?
Hey, late night Pac-12 is a pass for me.
All right. Oh, yeah, Conor Mac, do you have a early best bet, a noon Eastern best bet from the early games? Someone's asking.
Yeah, that Rutgers. I like the under, the Rutgers Penn State. I like Iowa State. I know it's down to 3 a lot of places. I got 4 at 3 in the hook, but I like Iowa State there. They didn't get a win. They're 10-1 after giving up 40 points. 10-1 against the number, so I think they get it done here today.
All right, North Texas, Florida International. We've got North Texas laying 10 on the road, 57 the total. I never thought earlier this season I'd be laying 10 with North Texas, but we're doing it here. They've won 3 in a row, Rice, Southern Miss, UTEP, and Florida International's quit. I mean, this is beyond bad. 9 straight losses. The last 3, 38-0 to Marshall, 47-24 to Old Dominion, 50-10 to a third-string quarterback for Middle Tennessee last week. Butch Davis, who's on his way out here for this program. He won't be back. He's throwing the program under the bus. The chief, the facilities suck. Our players are using football pads from 30 years ago because we can't pay for new equipment, new uniforms for our players. It is ugly with a capital U right now with the FIU football program. They're under fire. They're falling apart. They've quit on the field, this team, repeatedly. When you're losing this bad to the teams they've lost to, you've quit. You've mailed it in. You've packed it in. You've threw in the towel. Give me North Texas here, -10. That's just a straight fade of FIU. It's been working for me for weeks. We're keeping it up today. North Texas -10. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, I never thought I'd say it a few weeks ago. North Texas laying 10 points. But it was one of the easy ones we talked about with Middle Tennessee, and that game was easy from the beginning. That I added on from last week. It was like 33-3. I think it's more similar. It's not FIU. It just should be FU.
Oh, man. Good one, bud. All right. Hey, one-way action for me. I mean, FIU, no way, Jose. Happy trails to you, Butch Davis, in your next adventure, hopefully retirement. But anyways, team total over North Texas, 33.5 -125.
All right, there we go. Like it, definitely. And, take out the I in FIU, and that's what the fan base is saying about the program right now. Boss, what do you think?
Hey, this is one where if you're the type of person that likes to buy in where there's blood in the streets, this is a perfect one right here. Take North Texas right here and beat up on a FIU bad team going out under the bus, all that, negativity, jump right in and take advantage of it.
All right, Virginia Tech, Miami. Miami 7-point home favorites, 55.5, 56. Of course, Justin Fuente is out at Virginia Tech. That was big news made. How did the players respond? I'm not sure. This is a pass for me. I don't know where the headspace is for Virginia Tech. They haven't played well for a while. And Miami's not one of those teams after a crushing loss in a rivalry game to Florida State with that shaky defense. Do I want to lay 7 with them? So this is a clear pass for me. Can't trust either side. Maybe the over. 55.5, 56. I agree with the total going up. You could see some points. Conor Mac, Virginia Tech, Miami.
Yeah, I think the total could get over. I haven't bet this one. If you got over a touchdown, I lean Va Tech. There's just a lot of 7s here, and it's not a game I'm really intrigued by, but I'd take the points with Va Tech.
Big Ragoo.
It's a rally the troops time game, guys. Rally the troops. J.C. Price, he's going to get the opportunity that he's going to get to step in as the head interim coach, and it's going to be a short season for him, obviously. But, hey, the guy had a long-term tenure with Marshall, and he was like a Conference USA Recruiter of the Year. He's got a lot of accolades under his under his belt. So we'll see if the troops rally behind him. It's take Virginia Tech and Manny Diaz. His seat's starting to get real warm down in South Florida too. So
Yeah,
let's get ready to rumble, boys.
Yeah, you know what? And I can't argue with that. I'd take the points before I lay them as well. You're looking at Miami, 3-point win, 4-point win, and 1-point win. They're 3 ACC wins. They have not been a win by a big margin type of team, not with that defense. So I hear what you're saying there. Virginia Tech, I would lean that way. I like the over as well. Boss, what do you think?
Hey, just as I went to look into this, I heard the voice of my sports betting therapist who told me there were no longer bets on Miami after last week. So I had to pass on this one.
All right.
Take the other side.
Yeah. The therapist has probably got your best interests at heart in a game like this, DJ Big Boss.
Miami is harmful for my health.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, certainly laying points with them, and that defense is harmful for anybody's health or bankroll. Tennessee, 28-point home favorite, 61.5 the total in this one. South, this is a weird game on the schedule. We'll see what Tennessee brings to the table here. South Alabama, is looking for bowl eligibility, but obviously they're in tough here. They got drilled by App State last week, 31-7. How focused is Tennessee? I mean, they finished with Vanderbilt. It's not like a marquee opponent that they're looking for next week, but I worry about the South Alabama defense stopping this Tennessee offense, which has still been pretty good under Hendon Hooker. I'm not ready to lay 28. I understand the case for Tennessee that this could get out of hand for South Alabama, but I don't want to lay this many points. It's a pass. Connor, what do you think?
Pass for me as well. I want to take these points to South Alabama, but I don't trust them, so pass.
Big Ragoo.
My best bet last week was under 17.5 Tennessee, right? Don't tell me that fucking hook means everything in football, my boys. But anyways, today's a different story. We're riding the Tennessee Orange. We're taking the team total over Tennessee to whoop up on South Alabama. Not to cover, just to cover enough points-wise to get the team total over the total.
All right, good stuff. Boss.
Man, I don't know. I really want to take South Alabama. Like, they ain't no punk bitch. But Tennessee is they outclassed, man. You got to be careful when you mixing conferences like this. Just the players are bred a little different. They weigh a little more. They're a little stronger, a little faster. But like I said, South Alabama ain't no punks, man. They come to play football. It's tempting to take the points right there, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
All right, we've got next up on this Saturday slate, we got Vanderbilt and Ole Miss. Ole Miss 36-point home favorite, 65 the total. I hate to be repetitive here, but from a side, probably another pass for me. I don't trust Vanderbilt. Now, Vanderbilt did cover with a late score against Kentucky, so that's the concern. Like, they're playing hard right till the end. They're not very good at all, but they do keep playing hard right till the end. It's a lot of points to be laying. And look, there's the Big Egg Bowl showdown next week. Mississippi State and Ole Miss, two Mississippi schools that are on the upward trajectory. And, that's going to be one of the better Egg Bowl games in recent memory with just, both programs are improving. So that's a big one. I don't trust Ole Miss laying this much in this spot, but I don't know if I can make a case for Vandy. So not a game I'm involved in. Connor, what do you think?
Yeah, me either. Man, 35.5, 36. I'd take it with Vandy. Shit. If I had a free bet, give me Vandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean Clifford's starting. So, yeah, all that money move, it's a head scratcher.
Starting now?
Yeah, he is starting. So everybody backing flooding to Rutgers. But I don't think he's moved
Doesn't matter
that much.
Yeah, I didn't think that. Yeah. I mean, shit.
Not like you're talking about
fake news.
One of the top quarterbacks in the country being out here for Penn State. So, yeah, it was just a weird move that everyone just assumed he was out and just bet the hell out of Rutgers here before this game started. What do you think your Big Ragoo, Vandy, Ole Miss?
Yeah, it'd have to be Vandy or pass. Maybe a little look-ahead spot for Ole Miss here. And Vandy, they're hitting the books like DJ says, but they're going to be hitting the bricks here soon in another week. Their season will be over. And is this senior day for them? Might be. I don't know if it is or not.
So.
Yeah, so let's go, Vandy. Use your brains today.
All right, good stuff. Boss, what do you think?
It's a pass for me, but I think Ole Miss deserves a lucky can of whoop ass to get out and let their hair down and have some fun today. But I don't know. Those Vandy kids, they've been fighting it all year, so I pass.
All right. Next up, we've got Oklahoma State and Texas Tech. Oklahoma State double-digit favorites, 10 on the road, 55 the total. I ain't stepping in front of Okie State. This has been a team that I've looked back all year, and don't look now. They're starting to cover as favorites lately, too. And this defense is by far – there's no one close in the Big 12 to the defense that Oklahoma State has. I guess Baylor's pretty good. West Virginia can be good from time to time. That's about it. So this is a great defense. Do I trust Tex? Tex had a quarterback shuffle going on for weeks now. Do I trust them to move the ball? No. Maybe an under, if anything, in this game, but probably not one I'm going to bet. I lean Okie State. I'm not stepping in front of Mike Gundy's team right now. That is the best defense, and they could shut down Tech. They've been shutting down teams left and right for weeks now. Connor, what do you think here?
Yeah, this one's tough. How do you not? I've been in Oklahoma State every week, 8 straight weeks against the number they've covered. So I thought Texas Tech last week was the game. They were 10-point dogs. They beat Iowa State. I don't know if they can today. Tricky one here. I think I'm going to stay off.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, Tech's one of them Jekyll and Hyde teams when it comes to getting to the number. And I think the best team in Oklahoma is in Stillwater, not in Norman. So it's got to take Oklahoma State laying or pass it for me.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah, I'm a man. I'm 50. That's what he's going to say now. He's not 40 anymore. No, I'm almost 40. So there's no way he can be 40.
Hey, I'm coming up on 60, all right? So let's take it easy a little bit.
I'm going to be saying I'm a man. I'm 40 in like a few years from now. That's just scary shit. Scary thought. Big Boss, what do you think here?
I don't know, man. I'm on the other side of that one. I think I'm going to go with Texas Tech at home, man. The way they acted after beating Baylor last week, I don't know. And this is supposed to be a team with a whole lot of drama where I thought the coach shouldn't have been fired. I think it was a premature pull, but I guess they rallied. They beat Baylor. They may be still rallied up about that, and they're playing at home. I've talked about it before a few years back. They made a state-of-the-art stadium over there at Texas Tech, and it got to be paid for. So they got to bring the drama. They got to bring ESPN. They got to bring everybody over there so they can get that bread. So I think in this one, I think they hang in there. I might not get to the window with it because I don't think they'll actually win. I think that they can definitely close cover that line right there, though, that 9, and maybe this comes down to a field goal.
Wyoming, Utah State. We've got Utah State 6-point favorites, 52 the total. I could only take Utah State. I mean, they've been terrific. Blake Anderson's a great coach. He's done a great job with this team. The one concern, I'm not impressed with what Wyoming's done. They've been a disappointment this year. But the one concern is Utah State's offensive strength with Logan Bonner is throwing the ball. Wyoming does have a pretty solid secondary. And on the flip side, Wyoming, if they're going to have offensive success, they got to run the ball. And Utah State's run defense is mediocre at best. So matchup-wise, it's kind of Wyoming, but not with my money. I still think Utah State's the only way I would go. I'm just not stepping in front of a team I've made a good amount of money backing this year, Utah State. Conor Mac, what do you think here?
Yeah, me too. It's a lean. I haven't bet this one. I can't take Wyoming. They haven't been good all year. 10-point losses, 17 to Fresno. They lost to New Mexico, 14-3. I can't even take the 6 with them, so it's a pass. It's Utah State or pass.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Yeah, no worries. I think both these teams play to the under their style of football. I know Utah State's probably a little more aggressive through the air here, but just numbers-wise, I think it bodes well to the under on this spot here. I think we get a little bit of value. What's it, like 50, 52?
52.
Yeah, 52. I think we might see like a high 40s type of game. It'll be close, but it's nothing's guaranteed. But I lean under.
All right, Boss.
Mountain West guy right here. This is why they pay me the big bucks.
Come on in. The water's cold.
I don't know about this game right here. Okay, so Utah State is fighting for their side of the conference with Air Force, and Air Force already won last night. So they got a lot ahead of them. But you got to think Utah, they've gotten away in the Mountain West this year, being new to the Mountain West, having a coach and a quarterback that had a scheme already together that they have to introduce to each team going down the line, which they're not quite prepared for, yada, yada, yada. But Wyoming, on the other hand, has a defense that you don't just see every day. You don't just play against guys who play that physical. You don't play against guys who are that intense in pass defense. You just don't see it. You don't even play against guys who run the ball like that. Like, with the offensive line that they have over there. So I lean the points in Wyoming in this one. This might be the upset of the day right here, and we be looking at Air Force in the Mountain West Championship. I think playing Fresno State, I believe, has it on the other side. But yeah, man, I was debating this one all week, and I like Utah State. I like what they did, but I don't know. After watching San Diego State play a few teams, and they have one of those defenses as well that's really physical, and it's like it's a different dynamic, even coming to play them that this coach and this scheme might not be ready for. But Wyoming's not a good team to bet on the road for sure. You know what I mean? But in this case right here, maybe just half a unit if you really want to play it. It's going to be more of an exciting game to watch. But I'd take Wyoming plus the points.
All right, Wyoming plus the points. And by the way, they're a half game ahead of Air Force in that division. So Utah State controls their own destiny to the Mountain West Championship game. And it's San Diego State leading the other division, 6-1 in the conference. So, and Fresno's still alive. Right. Yeah, Fresno is still alive, but they got to win out, and San Diego State's got to at least lose a game down the stretch because Fresno would own the tiebreaker. Fresno beat San Diego State. So that's if they're tied in conference record, it would go to Fresno. But they've got to win, and they got to hope San Diego State stumbles in their final game next week. All right, next up we've got, as we continue along here, down to our last few games on this slate. It is New Mexico, Boise State. Boise State 27.5-point home favorites, 48 the total. It's a pass for me. I'm not laying this many with Boise, but I cannot trust New Mexico. They've been that bad. I would lean New Mexico still because Boise's track record is bigger favorites at home. It's been brutal. Even the last game against Wyoming. Big home favorites, double digits. They didn't cover. So New Mexico reluctantly, but I'm going to stay off it. What do you think here, Connor?
Yeah, no way. This game was a quick nothing here. I don't want to lay that many with Boise State. They're not that type of team this year, so pass.
Big Ragoo.
Yeah, as bad as New Mexico is against the number, I don't want no part of laying 4 touchdowns with Boise. Pass.
Boss.
Mute.
If I play it, I go ahead and lay it with Boise State. Since their bye week, they've come back with a vengeance, man. They are, and Diavalos kind of has them looking like the old Boise State that we used to. They play some big games and got some good wins. They're rotating the backs. They're getting a little healthy. Like they're kind of improving late in the season. So I think this might be a good spot for them. Whereas New Mexico is digressing. I mean, UNLV beat them. What does that say for them? But I like Boise State right here.
UNLV, man, coming to play later.
UNLV, cash that future right there, man.
There you go.
Hell yeah. Get it, boss.
Hey, UNLV is 8-3 ATS this season.
Yes, they've been a playmaker this year. Absolutely, 100%.
Unbelievable.
No, they've been absolutely terrific in terms of cashing tickets this year.
Hey, that'll probably be the only reason he gets to keep his job, too. He's like, oh, you were good for the bettors.
Hey, somebody's got to pay those ticket takers in Vegas, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, they've been impressive, and they've been getting, big points most weeks, and they've been taking advantage of it, and people have been collecting. As a result, if you backed UNLV for the most part, I mean, they've had the Nevada game stands out. We remember that one, but other than that, they've been competitive. This is another pass for me. This next game, UL Monroe, LSU 29-point home favorites, 57.5 the total. I don't want LSU laying this many. I don't want Monroe because I don't know if their offense is going to function here on the road against LSU, whose defense actually played well against Arkansas. They lost that game, but that was a good defensive effort. If they do anything close to that here, Monroe's not going to have a lot of success moving the football. So it's a pass for me. Connor, UL Monroe, LSU.
Pass. Nothing here. Monroe, as real quick, they can't. Just nothing. No words. Took the words out. I have no words.
All right, Big Ragoo.
I thought I had a winner last week with the Cajuns. With the Bayou Tigers last week, but they pushed for me, so it wasn't a loss. A push is like a win most times. But anyways, this week I'm off the game totally.
All right, boss.
This is an interesting spot right here. I mean, we have this UL Monroe team that is probably, I could say, the most surprising team in college football this year to play well. And they're playing the LSU team, who's really stepped it up since they announced that Orgeron is going to be gone. They've been really stepping it up, right? And maybe this is a spot where they look past this UL Monroe. I mean, that's an interstate thing too, huh? So I think you take the points in this one. I think just for, like Big Ragoo say, for shits and giggles, take the points on this one. Take UL Monroe. Take the most
have fun.
improved team in college football.
Yeah, I mean,
agree with
UL
you.
Monroe has pulled off some upsets. Nothing like LSU, but the Liberty upset was certainly impressive. Yeah, I would say if I had to bet it, I would take the
points. Yeah,
for sure. Before I ever lay 29 with LSU and a coaching staff led by Ed Orgeron that's out the door after the season. So I would only go Monroe, but I'm going to stay off it. All right, next up, Arizona State, Oregon State. Arizona State, 3-point road favorites, 59.5 the total. I'm on the Beavers here. Chomp, chomp. Oregon State +3. I know Arizona State certainly coming into the year expected to be the better team, but this Oregon State home field is real. They're 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread at home. They're coming off a drubbing over Stanford, 35-14 last week. They've played good football here on their home field. I've been impressed. Jonathan Smith's done a great coaching job. The defense is a lot better than it once was. B.J. Baylor running the football with Deshaun Fenwick as well. Good receiving core led by Trayvon Bradford and Treshawn Harrison. And Chance Nolan at quarterback has been solid since they gave him the starting job many weeks ago early in the season. So I like what I'm seeing. They played well at home. Arizona State, really good team, but kind of getting by the skin of their teeth here in a couple of these games. And remember, they lost to Washington State at home, lots of turnovers, got beaten up by Utah, barely beat Washington on the road last week, and now they're going on the road again for a second straight week. I think and I like Jaden Daniels. I like the job Herm Edwards done, but I like Oregon State here at home catch. I think there's a field goal game either way, so I'm happy to take the +3 with an undefeated home team. Give me Oregon State here. Conor Mac, what do you think?
No, it's Oregon State. You don't even need the 3. Just take a money line. They're going to win here. Take them at home. Beavers.
All right, good stuff. Big Ragoo.
All day long, number one offense in the Pac-12, rushing well over 200 yards a game. I mean, it's in Corvallis. It's at night. Arizona coming up to a little cooler temperature. Just all the indicators. Money line, like Connor says, all the way.
All right, good stuff. And our boss.
I'm going to lean under in this one right here. Some defense is going to get played out there on the field between these two. It's a late night Pac-12. The refs are going to help it. So I lean under in this one.
All right, the final game, the last game. It's actually the latest start time on the board today. Colorado State and Hawaii. We've got Colorado State 2.5-point road favorites and 54 the total. Colorado State, to use the Connor and Ian term, hit the shits. That's exactly what's happened to Colorado State the last 4 games. 0-4 straight up in ATS. Now, pretty tough schedule. 3 of those games: Air Force, Boise State, Utah State, good teams, but definitely the roof's caved in on Adazio and company. You could say the same about Hawaii, though. I mean, Todd Graham's team, they've lost 3 straight, and they've played, other than the San Diego State loss, they've played, UNLV, and they got bombed in that game by 14 as favorites against UNLV. No way am I ready to trust Hawaii, after that kind of performance. That's an alarming loss to UNLV. Not only that you lost, but you got pretty much dominated. Both lines of scrimmage, both sides of the football by UNLV in that game. So I'm not ready to trust this Hawaii team. I don't want to take Colorado State laying points on the road. So this is a pass for me. Maybe a lean to the under here because I think you have both teams trending that way a little bit. Although I should say Colorado State's gone over in 2 straight, but totals were in the 40s in those games. This is a 54 you're dealing with. And we've seen some weird wind conditions as well on the island this year. So I lean under, but probably not going to bet this one. Connor, what do you think? Colorado State, Hawaii.
Yep, that's what I was looking at. If I were to play this one, it'd be the under. Hawaii's offense, isn't that great. Weird shit. Hawaii's at home. Take them. You can take 2.5, but take a money line. No way Colorado State goes there and gets out of the victory. The rest will do something for them or some shit. Hawaii wins.
All right, Big Ragoo.
Get your poke and sushi ready. Hawaii on the island. And I think we got one more game to cover. I think we missed one.
Oh, we
Who we
did?
missed?
Okay, boss.
Utah, Oregon.
Yes, that's right. Shit. You had one of the biggest games of the day. You're right,
Let's
boss.
get to it. Boss.
Muted.
You got to take Hawaii on the island. That's just how it go. And I never really liked Colorado State that much. The under is a nice play too. Colorado State has one of the best pass rush. They get into the quarterback a lot over there, so that should slow the game down some. But a lot of coaches talk about those wind conditions over there in Hawaii, and they can't adjust to that. So I think Colorado State struggles on offense, and the wind should be a factor. The travel should be a factor. And then we got to take that loss away from UNLV. You got to wash that away. It's difficult to travel to Vegas. Everybody knows this in every sport. That's why they never had major league teams there. It's too many distractions. And when you think about a place like Hawaii, their main recruit is Arizona, California, and all those people. So when they play in Vegas, all their family come to see them play. So it's a whole different environment for them. So they're not in the football game. They're worried about their people. Did they get their seats and all of those other stuff? So I think Hawaii bounced back on the island today.
Yeah, definitely. Should be interesting here. And I'm glad we skipped this game earlier in the show, and we get to at least end the show with a great game. And it is a great game. Oregon, Utah, ABC primetime game tonight. We've got Utah 3-point home favorites in Salt Lake, Rice-Eccles Stadium, 58.5 the total. I think Utah wins. I love Utah here. I do. I think they're favored for a reason. You've got the playoff team in the top 4, and they're an underdog. I think people will flock to that. But I think Utah's coming on strong. And here's the key matchup. Utah's rediscovered the run defense again the last few weeks. Early in the season, they kind of struggled against the run. The last 3 games, Utah's given up just 3.4 yards per carry, 110 rushing yards per game. Again, Oregon runs the ball a lot more than they throw it with Anthony Brown. If that run game is taken away by Utah, Anthony Brown's not the quarterback I trust to be the guy to throw it through the air, to beat you through the air consistently. And I think Utah can take away the run game a little bit for Oregon here in this one. And they've got a lot of running backs. No question about that. I mean, even without C.J. Verdell for the season, they're deep there. Travis Dye, and there's a couple others that are great running backs. But I think Utah can take that away from Oregon a little bit. And on the flip side, the Utah offense, it's about as good an offense as anyone Oregon's played lately. They've played Washington State, Washington, Colorado. UCLA was the one really good offense they played lately, and they struggled in that game, gave up 31. They had a 31-point game where they lost in overtime to Stanford. And Cam Rising has been outstanding at the quarterback spot for Utah since they've taken over. They've got great balance. They can run it. And this is about as good a passing game as I've seen out of a Kyle Whittingham Utah team since Cam Rising took over here. So give me Utah here, -3. Everyone's going to love Oregon. They're playing well. They're in the playoff. They need the win here. They're an underdog. It's got to be Oregon, right? No, this is a tough place to win. I love this Utah team to get the job done here. Utah -3. This could actually be an over here, believe it or not, in terms of this game, because this could be your Pac-12 over. Utah's gone over in 6 straight. People don't realize how good this offense has been with Rising. 42, 35, 34, 44, 52, 38 points in the last several games. This could be higher scoring than you would normally think for a Utah game. And normally you think Utah total in the high 50s. Got to bet that under. Not this Utah team. This is an explosive offense right now. So I would only go over the total. And I like Utah laying the field goal at home. I think they end Oregon's playoff dreams tonight. Connor, what do you think? Oregon, Utah.
Well, the people that like Oregon get the 3.5, but there's still 3s out there. It's Utah. It's Utah at home. It's Salt Lake City. Oregon, yeah, they just can't throw it. Utah gets it done. Rising, they have enough weapons. It's just so tough to go up there and win. It's Utah.
Yeah. Big Ragoo, what do you think?
There's your late Pac-10 or Pac-12 over, Pac-10, Pac-12, whatever it's called this week, over the total. I think Utah gets enough points, maybe ekes out the victory, maybe not so much, but it sets up well for them. If they shut down the run, then it's going to be all one-way action with Utah. But I think they'll both get points here, and I think it's not a sneaky good over. It's a damn good over. Give me the over.
All right, damn good over, and I agree with that. I would only look over in this game. Boss, Oregon, Utah.
I like the over as well in this game right here. But I mean, when I looked at the two teams, and I try to look at which one, what's the most impressive win for Utah this season, you probably have to give it to Arizona State, which is a team we're about to fade a couple things before. Now, when you look at Oregon, on the other hand, what's the most impressive win for them? Ohio State, who we thought could have been a bum, but actually, are in the mix right now. So I think Cristobal gets it together today. Give me the 3.5, just in case it comes down to a field goal. And I take Oregon today. I mean, even though I'm who's running from Utah, man? Like, I don't care how many home games you win in Utah. I ain't never scared to go to Utah. But I like Oregon in this one.
Maybe playing this team at home. They're pretty damn good at home, boss. And I admit you're right, but those are two different teams, and they had different quarterbacks. They had Brewer, who they kicked him out. Cam Rising's in. But you're right with the wins. You're right with the wins, but two different teams.
You got to think, every time Utah went to step to the plate, who was it? San Diego State, they lost. They lost to the Mountain West. I mean, they haven't really had, other than the conference wins, they haven't really had no stand-up wins.
All right, so we'll see.
We'll see. There's some truth to that. There's some truth to that, but this is a different Utah team right now. It really is. I think it's telling that the line has stayed at 3. In fact, it's actually trickled up toward Utah throughout the course of the week. So, like I say, I've been riding Utah a lot. And I think they've got it in them to beat Oregon here. And it's like I said, it's not easy to win.
Let me ask y'all one more question though.
Yep.
Who does the Pac-12 want in the mix more, Oregon or Utah?
Well,
they want Oregon. They want Oregon to represent them more. So even the conspiracy theory is backing Oregon in this spot.
Yeah, I know. Maybe they'll give Oregon a few more calls. You hope that's not the case, but you never say never when you're talking NCAA. That's for sure. You never put anything past the NCAA.
Pac-12 at night.
Pac-12 after. Well, it's going to be
shenanigans. I'm calling.
Yeah, we'll see in that one. All right, great stuff, everybody. We'll wrap up with best bets in just a second. Hit the like button, everybody tuning in. We thank you for joining us. Hit the like button if you haven't already. We will wrap up the show with best bets in just a second, coming up right after this. Southtown 101, when you're in San Antonio, Texas, stop in. Great food, drinks, live music, DJs, karaoke. Hey, if you can't attend that big UTSA game, go down to Southtown 101, watch it there. I'm sure it'll be a great environment for that big game, UAB, UTSA. Make sure you stop in there. Manscaped, promo code PubSports, 20% off your purchase. Promo code PubSports, Lawnmower 4.0 or any product, 20% off. Promo code PubSports. MyBookie.ag. Promo code PubSports. All the sports are going at once. Sign up for an account there. Bitcoin accepted currency for your deposit. MyBookie.ag, promo code PubSports. All right, it is time for best bets to wrap up this edition of the Saturday College Football Kickoff Show. Conor Mac, we'll start with you. What do you like for best bet?
The best ones I like went off. I like the early ones, but the late night, Oregon State. Take the 3, but I don't think you need them. They went outright over Arizona State.
All right, Oregon State +3, best bet for Conor Mac. Big Ragoo, best bet.
Pac-12 shenanigans over the total. Utah, Oregon.
All right, Oregon, Utah over 59. Best bet here for Big Ragoo. Oregon, Utah over. Actually, 58.5 is the best number.
Yeah, I was going to say there's
58.5. Boss, best bet.
Hey, since it's gonna be a big thing in my city today, give me them Care Bears over them Trojans, UCLA.
All right, UCLA -3.5 against USC. Best bet for Boss. My best bet for this card, Let me just see here quickly here. Lots of good options. I'm going to go with, oh boy. You're right. A lot of the I'm going to go North Texas -10 against Florida International. I mean, they're that bad, and I think North Texas can romp them. North Texas
Hell yeah.
-10
FU.
against Florida International. I say FU to FIU today. Take North Texas -10 against Florida International, a team that's quit, folded the tent. North Texas -10, best bet for me. Quickly, I like Villanova. I like New Mexico. And I like Purdue against North Carolina. There's 3 college basketball sides I like. Connor, anything at all you like college basketball you want to throw out there before we wrap it up?
I'm going to put it out on Twitter. These early games, I'm on the Air Force under. I give that, and it's falling. I got 130. It's like 128 now. That game stays under. It's about in an hour, I think 10 o'clock.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. And that's a wrap for the Saturday College Football Kickoff Show. We'll be back 10 a.m. Eastern. 7 a.m. Pacific next Saturday, and we'll do it all over again. College Football Kickoff Show right here on Pub Sports Radio. For Big Ragoo, Conor Mac, DJ Big Boss, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the football action. Enjoy the games, and good luck. We'll see you next Saturday for the Saturday College Football Show once again right here on Pub Sports Radio.